Yes, everyone, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur. I'm here to deliver you the fan show, everybody. If you want to come on and have your say about that Man City game, please do. The link is in the community section for everybody with that fan show membership. I'm going to put the link in the chat as well for anybody that wants to grab it in case they want to come on and have their say. Have a few in the chat or a few in the back end already that want to come on, but please, please, please do come and have a chat with me about Man City. I bet you're absolutely buzzing about Harry Kane becoming the new all-time leading scorer, as well as just getting that 1-0 win in such a crucial game. It really was such a necessary win. I felt like in order for us really to transform this season, if we really do have any hopes of this season kind of turning around for us and maybe finishing strong, I felt like we needed to win that game. It was absolutely necessary to do so. But everybody, hope you're keeping well. I have a few topics I'm going to get through, but I'm just going to get to the chat first because we already have Chris I think redoing the fan show membership. Big yourself up, Chris, and he's a member for 19 months. You absolute legend. He says, "So glad Spurs didn't ruin my birthday. Best performance all season, and your boy Royale Jack was excellent. Can't slate him today. Definitely cannot, Chris. And happy birthday to you, my man, and happy birthday to the Dermatron as well. You guys were delivered a very good birthday present in the case of a Spurs win. And let's be honest, Chris, I bet it's not too often that you could rely on Spurs delivering you a win, especially when it's so high stakes like that with Man City. Bet you had some backup plans maybe, available to yourself, in case things didn't go so well. And it's good to see that Spurs gave you that win, especially such a crucial game. I'd be very, very nervous if I were you. But Chris, they delivered, my man. You absolute legend. And like I said, yesterday as well as today, feel free to keep hitting me with the Winks lovers, with the Sanchez lovers, all that sort of stuff. Feel free, my man. It's your birthday for all. But big yourself up, Chris. Really do appreciate the support, my man. And then Tottenham LSG saying oil cheats crackdown, Levy's 22-year plan coming to fruition. I really can't I don't really want to get ahead of myself when it comes to this sort of kind of situation with Man City and kind of the fines and everything. Just seems kind of a little too hard to believe for me because I feel like they got away with it last time out, if I'm not mistaken, like pretty easily. So I could see it happening again where it's not really, a serious punishment of any kind. But I could be totally wrong. Like I haven't really done my research on it yet. When it comes to the situation with Man City. So they actually could maybe really be facing it quite seriously this time around. But like I said, it's just, I feel like I haven't, I haven't taken these sort of kind of things seriously before because it feels like they always get away with it with some way or another. But let me know, Tottenham, my man. Big yourself up though. And I think when it also comes to Levy speaking about the financial fair play like rules that are happening in 2025, I thought that was a very, very poor excuse for the lack of spending. Honestly, it just seemed a bit unnecessary. It just seemed kind of like, they were just kind of searching for extra sort of excuses to sort of kind of fill the word count or whatever. But I don't know, like it was pretty poor from them on both accounts there. Big yourself up though, LSG, my man. We also have Mick Kermalak in the house. Good to see you, Mick Kermalak. Hopefully you're keeping well, my friend. Welsh Gals here. Big up, lads. What a match yesterday. Big H surpassing the great Jimmy Greaves. Spurs on the attack, defending, stopping City yet again. Pep is fuming. Love it. Harris Army, big yourself up, Welsh Gal. Pep out. Pep Guardiola out. I think I even tweeted that about, what is it, like 2 months ago or something like that, Welsh Gal. And it's probably something I should maybe quote tweet, retweet again, because seriously, something is awry over at Man City. Something kind of stinks over there with Joao Cancelo leaving. I felt like that was a really weird performance. He didn't pick his best team by the looks of things. He didn't pick Gundogan, didn't use De Bruyne or any players like that. Just felt odd. Taking Mahrez off early, I thought was strange as well. I just feel like something's, not going well too over there at Man City. I'm kind of all for it. I never really liked them in the first place, Welsh Gal, but absolutely loved that performance. It was a really good full 90-minute performance that we've been needing this season. Welsh Gal, big yourself up. Really do appreciate you tuning in as well. Dermatron with the super chat. Do appreciate your support, my man. He says, I was so buzzing for Harry to score as the team at the I was so buzzing for Harry to score at the end as the late Jimmy Greaves scores his last goal for Tottenham versus Derby. My favorite would be the goal versus the scum in the top four and the FA Cup win on the way. Big yourself up, Dermatron. I think my favorite Harry Kane goal, it's kind of, it's a lot of, I think probably a cliche one is easily the one with the mask, against the scum, of course, in the North London Derby, back at actually the old, White Hart Lane. But what I would say, Dermatron, is that actually my favorite Harry Kane goal in terms of his like actual class, his actual ability, his actual technical ability. There's a goal he scored, I think it was against Crystal Palace when it was kind of during the COVID era when I don't believe anybody was in the stadium. And this was, I think, when Jose Mourinho was in charge. And this was during like, right, that spectacular season he had when he was top goal scorer, also top creator with the most assists as well. And he had that one goal where I think against Crystal Palace, where I forget who it was, slid it back into him inside. And he just hit it first time with the inside of his boot. It just like curled over the keeper to the far post. He hit it on the inside of his right, on the right side of the, box at the top of the box. And somehow with the inside of his boot, he found like the top left-hand corner. It was ridiculous, honestly. It was one of the most insane goals I'd ever seen that guy score. I mean, there are way too many to pick from. I mean, class A Kane, exactly right, Dermatron. And I mean, with him, maybe going on to probably smash the Jimmy Greaves record. I think that's what even makes it more ridiculous is that I know Jimmy Greaves did it in such a short span of time and he did it in such a short span of games, which makes it so ridiculous. But I think what makes Harry Kane's, so impressive is that he's going to break this record. He's probably going to kind of smash it. He's going to be able to probably produce maybe 30, 40 more goals at least, maybe I think for this club. So it just maybe shows that it maybe is going to be a record, at least for me, Dermot. I don't think ever is going to be broken. I don't think the record's ever going to get broken, but big yourself up, my man. And also happy birthday to you, Dermatron, as well. And happy birthday to Chris, too. King Hoddle, brilliant display, supreme tactical defensive discipline, good pressing up front, and effective transitions, capped by Harry breaking the record. Emo showed why he saw off the dock. The Gooner saw off the dock. The Gooner saved Emerson. King Hoddle, it was probably a glorious day for yourself with how many times you found yourself defending Emerson and, over these, maybe, these months and everything. And I must be honest, King Hoddle, I've been there with you defending Emerson, but I've had to, as, someone who's been on this show, I've had to sort of see it for both sides, but you defended him even more, I think, valiantly, even more passionately, even better than I ever even defended him. So King Hoddle, you deserve that night with Emerson as much as everybody else that's defended him in the past, my man. And absolutely right with Harry Kane breaking the record, my man. And it was really supreme tactical, defensive display. I really loved the shape that we had with the front three. I liked how tight and how central they played. I also loved how Højbjerg and Bentancur were pushing up and taking away a lot of those passes into Rodri or whatever that guy, Rico Lewis. I felt like they've really made it hard for them to turn and made it hard for them to kind of, pick up passes to break the lines. It really was, supreme tactical defensive display. And also going forward, I mean, it was just so easy for us to counter them, it felt like. And it felt like there were times where we were breaking with so many numbers as well. Really was a terrific performance. Big yourself up, King Hoddle. George Hill, big up Jacko. Dave, hope you're starting to feel better, brother. Yesterday was the first time all season I felt on the edge of my seat every time we got on the ball. MO masterclass. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. It truly was an MO masterclass. And I probably was maybe one of the most entertaining games, George Hill, but maybe that also had to do with the fact that you were getting a full 90-minute performance from the boys today, George. And I felt like maybe that's something we haven't really been able to say enough this season for, I mean, reasons we definitely could break down for, hours and hours, but seriously, something we haven't seen enough of are these full 90-minute performances like that. And you're absolutely spot on there, George. Big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate you tuning in yet again today, my man. Zoe is in here. Big yourself up, Zoe. Big up, everyone. Buzzing after yesterday. The one season wonder has done it again. I love Harry Kane so much. He's just a class act, Zoe. Even as well, when they were taking the pictures yesterday, I think in the dressing room, if you saw that dressing room video, Zoe, I think he even asked for all the staff to be included in the picture with him and the players. It's just a class act. He's just a class human being. We absolutely love our Harry Kane. Big yourself up, Zoe. We have Tyler in the house. Good to see you, Tyler. Says Emerson Royal statue in the works outside the ground, I heard. And maybe so, Tyler. I mean, he probably would sooner, maybe, I guess maybe any sort of statue will be erected at some stage. But who knows? Maybe it'll be the mighty Emerson. Daniel Larson, big up, everyone. Still on a high. I bet you are, Daniel. I can't wait to speak to you later. Big up to Bottom Duda. Big up Chris, Zoe King Hoddle, the one and only Jack, putting in all the hard work. and everyone in the chat. Big yourself up to bottom, dude, my friend. Really do appreciate you tuning in. And also thanks for sending all the good vibes to everybody else out in the chat. We also have Faz Radfar in here. Big up, lads. Hope David is back or well. In any case, love the channel. And in my opinion, the best in town, full of passion for the club and happy and in sad times. Always back in the team. Don, David, and Jack. Appreciate you, Faz, my man. You're an absolute legend, brother. It's a good corner that we've turned right here. Of course, things could still slip and fall right now, Faz, but as we do, we do try to sort of take it as we go, with each and every week. We don't sort of, we don't find ourselves in the doom and gloom when things are going well. We try to sort of see the light when things are going poorly and whatnot. It's just, I think, how some of us are wired at the end of the day. But we do try to sort of, look for solutions, look for, maybe how we can, find, the answers to what's maybe sometimes going wrong at the club, etc. And we have to have good, engaging discussions with everybody that comes on a variety of different angles and a variety of different viewpoints on it. And I think you appreciate that, Faz, and I do appreciate everybody else that tunes in and just feels comfortable in this community with us. But big yourself up, Faz. I do really appreciate your support. And David, I think he's on the mend. He's going to be feeling better pretty soon, but I can't exactly say when he'll be back, because I think I made a promise he'd be back today. And yet again, I have lied to you guys like I always do. Big yourself up, Faz. Really do appreciate your support, my man. Going to keep getting through the chat here and seeing what people have to say. We also have the likes of Dave Tyson. Evening, people. Good to see you, Dave. Hopefully you're keeping well, my friend. Peter Spillane, great result. Big up. How you doing about one of these streams? Have time in the evening. Big yourself up, Peter. And also feel free to come on, Peter, and have your say. I'm also going to put the link in the chat at maybe some stage when we kind of get through the members of the show. And I'll put the link out to anybody that wants to come on and have a good chat with me. But big yourself up, Peter. Gene D is also in here. Good to see you, Gene D. Big up, Jack. Come on, new Spurs. Really do appreciate you, Gene D. Get well soon, Peter Spillane. How do you change the pick that goes with the post wanting to change mine? Big up to you and Dave. Get well soon. I'm not really sure what you mean. Change the pick. Maybe with the profile pick. Is that what you mean? How to change the profile pick? Let me know, Peter. Jason Bell, good to see you in here, Jason. Really do appreciate you tuning in. My friend John is in the house as well. Nothing will happen with City. I just don't really feel like they're going to really actually get punished in any way. I've seen them get away with it countless times before Man City. So I just don't really see it happening this time. We also got Chunky Cheeks in the house. No appeal for the Premier League. So I did see that part where they don't even have an appeal available to them, which is certainly interesting. Daniela Zito, hi, Jack. We played brilliant yesterday and all players played well, but I think it's important we don't get too ahead of ourselves as we now need to see a run of good results. Can't just be one good result. I completely agree, Daniela, and you're keeping me accountable because I must be honest, I'm well guilty of, getting pretty ahead of myself. I've been accused of being a happy clapper, so I am probably, quite guilty of getting ahead of myself from time to time. And you're so right. I mean, how many times have we seen a brilliant result like this only for us to lose to a team like Burnley the following week? And even this Leicester City game that's coming up is kind of similar to a degree. It could be like a Burnley slip up like we had last time out against the Man City. So you are right there, Danielle. You're spot on. Pick yourself up. Just going to get through a few more here in the chat. We also have Ricky Nato. Big up, Jack. Congrats to Harry Kane on the 267. Come on, you Spurs. Pick yourself up, Ricky. We also have, and also he wishes Chris a happy birthday. Really well done there, Ricky. Happy birthday to you, Chris, again. Steve Webb is in the house saying, I hope this is the start of a revival for Royal. Okay, he can't pass and cross the ball like other right wing backs. In all honesty, though, he's solid in defense most of the time and always gives 100%. What I really like about him is his sort of like his mentality, honestly, Steve, because he's been criticized, very, very heavily by Spurs fans and ridiculed and disrespected to a degree by a lot of Spurs fans and mocked and just like, I don't know, it's been kind of over the line, I think, at a lot of stages. And he's somehow been able to tune all of that out and continue to try and try and try and try again, which I just find to be a very commendable, type of mentality that you don't really often find nowadays. I think players often seem to give up quite easily. They seem to get rattled quite easily when things don't seem to go their way. Whereas with Emerson, he's not exactly been, shown like a very comfortable and, nice environment by the Spurs fan base or really, even the media at all either. And he's been able to somehow tune all that out and, put in decent performances from time to time and also be able to get the spot ahead of Doherty as well as Spence. Like, like it or not, I mean, Conte has obviously preferred Emerson ahead of Doherty and Spence, and he's been able to win that battle, which is really all that he can really do at the end of the day. It's his job is just to try to be the best right wing back or the best right back or the best version of himself that he can, and he seems to do a very good effort at that. And I like his mentality. I think his ability going forward is slowly improving. I think a lot of people have ignored some of the improvement he's shown. Like yesterday, he was absolutely terrific. I thought going forward as well as defensively. He's always been good defensively, but he's terrific going forward. I thought yesterday as well. So yeah, big up, my man, Steve. Steve, what? Big yourself up, brother. But we also have Steadiest Shark in the house saying, or Steediest saying, it's always difficult to compare players across generations. Kane has had a huge number of goals ruled out due to VAR, whereas VAR didn't exist back when Greaves played. I don't know like how much VAR really plays a part into it. I know what you're trying to say, and maybe it does, rule some, goals out for Harry Kane and whatnot. You might be right. But what I would say is that what's most impressive about Jimmy Greaves is that he did it in such a short span of time, Mr. Shark. Whereas the likes of Harry Kane, obviously due to the modern era and due with how, he had to come up from such a young age and, kind of become the player he is today, wasn't able to do it nearly as fast. And of course, that has to do with, Jimmy Greaves kind of coming to Spurs when he was more kind of right, like kind of into his prime and everything. But I do really, it is just impressive nonetheless that he still broke that record. And also the fact that he's going to smash it and he's going to probably leave it at a certain number where it's just going to be, I think, no one's ever going to break it and no one's ever going to, smash it. I think it would be near impossible for anybody to break Harry Kane's record, whatever record he leaves it at. Big yourself up, my man. Kev Williams is in the house. Big up, everyone. Absolutely love a Monday morning after a win. I always have a spring in my step. Harry Class A, Kane. What a player. Please stay forever. Harry, we'll get into it. Kev Williams will bring up some of the topics about the Mr. Harry Kane, but just a little spoiler. Apparently, Spurs are not interested or not looking at selling him to any English rivals this summer. Good to see you in the house. Tequila 316. Am I hearing things, or did Jack just say that King Hoddle deserved a night with Emerson? I mean, maybe he wants a night with Emerson. You don't blame him, actually. You probably don't have to blame him. You've been alongside me in the Emerson trenches, Jack, but I've had to understandably temper it in the interest of neutrality. Yeah, it's what I have to do with a lot of things, King Hoddle, but I must be honest. I could have, maybe certain times stood up for Emo a bit more, in certain times, and, maybe certain jokes at his expense I've kind of let slide. And, I try to just sort of, do it in the sense of neutrality, like you said, but I think you've made a very valiant effort in stepping up for him, in the trenches, like you said there. Big yourself up, my man. Damianos is in the house. Good to see you, Damianos. Big up, Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you as well. Foggy Foam. Really appreciated your tweet earlier and your responses, on the Twitter reacts, my man. And he says, good evening, Jack and everyone. Nothing beats a Monday after a Spurs win on a Sunday. A bit of a pep in your step there, Foggy. Love to see it. Chunky Cheeks in the house. White Hart Lane has lacked hype lately, but yesterday it was hopping. That's lovely to see, Chunky. I must be honest, like, we listen to Sean, and Sean likes to sort of have a bit of the crowd noise in the background while we're doing the watch alongs. I think Dave does too. And they've been saying that the crowd has been well active. They've been, very, very up and at 'em, very loud, very, energetic, very passionate, I think, in the most recent games. And I think as well, even they've also been very passionate with in the away end as well when they've been, the away crowd. So I must be honest, Chunky. I mean, I can't speak to it. I mean, you probably can speak to it better than I can, but if you were at the game or anything, but I feel like I've heard, at least from Sean, that, they've been very active and very energetic recently. They've been a lot louder, at least this January and, leading into this February. But pick yourself up, Chunky, and really do appreciate the support. Good man, Kev Williams, wishing everybody well in the chat. Good to see you, Jacob. Hopefully you're keeping well from United Spurs of America. Moondog is in the house. Good evening, Jack, and I hope Dave is okay, mate. I'm going to do him a special Harry Kane record breaking, maybe on glass. I'd love that, Moondog. Let me know. Is it going to be like in a plaque sort of kind of shape, like square? Is it going to be like in a heart shape or something, for Davo, maybe something where you can get maybe Dave's face, kissing, Harry Kane, something like that. But Moondog, I bet he'll absolutely love it. And that's very, very kind of you. And let me know how the workshop is going these days and how any of the, projects are going or anything like that, Moondog. Let me know, my friend. Feel free to send me an email, brother. Feel free to send me a text as well if you have my number. Big yourself up, Moondog. And Dave is okay. I can't say exactly when he's coming back. my man, but I'm sure he'll be back pretty soon for this one. But big yourself up, Moondog. I do really appreciate it. And he's, the biggest Harry Kane fan of them all. He really is. Finn, good to see you. He's one of our own. He's one of our own. Harry Kane. He's one of our own. You absolute legend, Finn. Good to see you, my man. Speeder Polaine saying, sorry, yes, the profile pic. Big up. Enjoy the stream. Peter, I think you got to kind of go into google.com or something like that. Go into like your Google, sort of, homepage where you like go into the search bar and then like click on your little, face or, icon on the right-hand corner. And you should be able to sort of change your profile pic from there. I think there would probably be some easy steps to do so. But if you're in the group chat or anything like that, my man, feel free to message me. I can help you out. Pick yourself up, Peter. Return to normal. Let's give Dyer a bit of love today. I mean, he was absolutely terrific. He pocketed the likes of Erling Haaland. I also thought Ben Davies was terrific too. Return to normal. I thought he was great as well. A gal is in the house. Wow, that's amazing. Good to see you here, Gal. And let me know when you're ready for another chat sometime, especially after you guys maybe start to crumble. Let me know how you're feeling after Sean Dyche masterclass. But good to see you in here, a gal. Yeah, thanks for the win, guys. Yeah, you're very, very welcome. But Petro42, don't think you've already won the league yet. Petro42, Emerson's cross yesterday was put on a plate for Kane yesterday. Yeah, I thought he was terrific going forward, if you ask me. We have Marik in the house, or Marek saying, is that like Marek Hamšík, kind of name? Big yourself up. Personally, I think we are slowly getting a team to compete for the top trophy. We just need to keep Conte and support the team the way we did at home last year against Arsenal. Come on, you Spurs. Completely agree, my friend. Completely agree. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody. Really do appreciate you tuning in, Dermatron. Happy birthday, brother. HJD saying Emerson and Højbjerg were standouts, but it was a great team performance and the atmosphere was electric. It sounded like it was electric. And Højbjerg as well was an absolute standout. We're going to be talking to Daniel later, who's a big Højbjerg enthusiast, and hopefully we get some good Højbjerg love tonight. Scooter React saying, morning all, big ups. Come on, you Spurs. I think for the first time this season, every player on the field played well. King Kane rules again. He's the absolute king of the lane. So he is, Scooter. Big yourself up. Peter Simons, no one will beat Greaves' score rate. Remember that. Exactly what I was trying to point out there, Peter Simons. I said, the span of time in which he did it was so impressive. The number of games in which he did it is just ridiculous. Daniel Larson becoming a new member. Let me see what you grabbed there, Daniel. Welcome to the fan show. Big yourself up, Daniel. And speaking to you later, brother. Really do appreciate your support, my man. Catman Jess is in the house. Big up, Catman Jess. And always thank you for tuning in, my friend. You're a top man, Catman Jess. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody. Doesn't look like I am. Everybody smash that like button while you're in here. Do as well. Keep getting your comments in. Feel free to throw in a super chat if you do want to support the channel. Here are some of the topics that I have lined up for everybody today. And also anybody that has that fan show membership, do come on and have your say, please. Harry Kane, all-time leading scorer. What is your favorite Harry Kane goal? I kind of gave you two of them earlier. Like I said, the iconic Harry Kane North London Derby goal, throwing off the mask, sliding into the corner, the absolute curler from the corner. It's just terrific. And then the other one, I would say, if you're just talking about the sheer ability of Harry Kane, that goal that he scored during kind of the COVID season, the pandemic season, where it was behind closed doors. I think it was at home against the likes of Crystal Palace, at the top of the box on the kind of the right sort of edge of the box, inside of the right foot, curls it into the top left-hand corner. It was absolutely terrific. But everybody, give me your favorite Harry Kane goal in the chat. Tottenham will not sell Harry Kane to an English rival this summer. That is according to Gary Jacob of the Times, everybody. And I will say again, Tottenham will not sell Harry Kane to an English rival this summer. That's according to Gary Jacob. So good, maybe news for Spurs fans there. And also we have, gotten some, murmurings that Harry Kane is willing to sit down and talk about a new contract. So this is all kind of good news. Of course, can't get too ahead of ourselves, but, things have to go well in this season, I think, in order for all of that to kind of come to fruition. But these are kind of good little news, good little murmurings coming about. Let me know if you want to come on and let me know about Conte's decision to go with Emerson, and who do you play versus Leicester City and in the UCL versus AC Milan. I think against Leicester City, I go with Pedro Porro, despite his terrific performance, Emerson. I think, with Leicester City, it's a really leaky sort of back line. Like, I think maybe they look a bit better going forward now with the likes of Tete that they brought in. But let's be honest, I think what we need is, a really attacking threat and, that guy that can whip in a good, cross, because Leicester City are also, very, very leaky. I feel like at the back, they're leaky from set pieces. So I'd go with Pedro Porro. Whereas with the Champions League against AC Milan, maybe in the first leg, you might go with the likes of Emerson away from home. You might want a more defensive kind of, guy. You don't want to be too, exposed or anything, especially if he's coming up against Rafael Leao, who's basically their best player going forward, too. Maybe you would put Emerson in that AC Milan game. Let me know, everybody. Spurs win without Conte versus Marseille, as well as Man City. Stellini ball. Anyone, everybody, let me know. Is Stellini actually the right man for Tottenham Hotspur? But in all seriousness, like, why is it that Spurs have put in kind of two terrific performances, without Antonio Conte there? Let me know. A dominant center back is at the very top of the wanted list for Tottenham's summer window, says Sammy Mockbell. This is exactly what I think we want to be hearing when it comes to the center back position. We want somebody that's tall. We want somebody that's strong, good in the air, somebody that can be that dominant type center back, that physical presence, and also hopefully can be a leader of sorts as well. We basically just want another Van Dijk, because Spurs, we've really struggled in the air, I think, when defending set pieces. We also just, I feel like, struggle kind of physically, and, with some of our center backs, we don't really have that sort of man mountain or that real kind of physical force, I feel like, yet, in that back line. And I think that's, good news to see that Spurs are, looking at, physical dominant center backs, as Sammy Mockbell of the Daily Mail. And then everybody, when it comes to that Man City game last night, let me know, was that the best performance of the season, in your opinion? I already saw Chris, put in the chat that he thought it was the best performance of the season. I remember Sean last night was saying it was the best performance of the season. Was that the best performance of the season you've seen so far from Tottenham Hotspur? But let's stop messing around and bring on the first guest of the evening. It is Mia. How are we, Mia?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. Should we start with this question right here? Best performance of the season, Mia?
Yes, I reckon it was definitely. And I think the best thing was, it was a complete team effort as well. And I think we looked dangerous. Every time we went on the break, we looked like we were going to score. And they just didn't look as dangerous. They had really, when you think about it, very few shots, and their main man was extremely quiet. I don't think he had a touch in the box all game. So for me, we looked really dangerous on that break. We just was absolutely going for it, and I would say definitely it was the best the best performance of this season. Definitely.
Is it because we haven't really been used to full 90-minute kind of performances? Where
Yeah.
we look like the better team throughout.
Yep, definitely. It's because we've had like half and half performances, haven't we, all season? So this is
Yeah.
one where we can actually say the whole time we were just absolutely brilliant. We were controlled as well. With a team like City, knowing they're going to have possession, like we didn't let that phase us. We just stayed in our positions. We defended really well, and then when we got the ball, the turnover was great. We pressed them in the right times, and then when we did do that press at the right time, they made a mistake and that led to the goal. So it was just actually a perfect performance of every single one of them. Every one of them was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it felt like at least 7 out of 10s and above, all over the pitch. And it felt like maybe the two players that were not fully on it, maybe on the day, were probably like Sonny and Kulusevski, but they still played really well. Like, they still played, a
Yeah,
huge vital part, and they did their part and everything. So I know what you mean, where it's just like a full team performance. Didn't feel like anybody was carrying each other or anything like that. It
no.
was, everybody was behind it. Everybody was fighting as well. And is that because they were fighting for Conte? Is that because they want to kind of, kickstart the season? Why is it that we got such a, full
It's
display
probably a
last?
mix of things. I would say it's probably they did it for Conte because they know he's poorly at the minute
Yeah.
and he's had such a tough time. So him being poorly is just another thing on top of that. And I think we do forget the human element of the players and the manager sometimes. And they probably got close to the manager now. They respect him, he's their boss, so they're probably quite concerned about him. And then they thought we're going to put in a good team performance. And also I
Yeah.
think it helped that the fans were really behind us. We were booing the ref, we were booing their players. But we were really, really behind them yesterday, which obviously helps bring a good vibe. Harry Kane, like he knew that today could be the day he broke the record. So it was just like an all round. Everybody wanted to do this sort of thing. It was like we're all gonna actually do this for the whole 90 minutes today. Yeah, boys. Okay, cool, sweet, we'll do it.
Mm.
That's what it felt like.
No, it didn't, and I completely agree. Just quickly, Catman Jess, member for 18 months, Flat Cap member, Catman Jess saying, "Feel better soon, David. You're a legend. Appreciate you, Catman Jess, and also 18 months as well. Appreciate your support, brother. It's an absolute. It's, if I don't even know if I've been around for 18 months on this channel, Catman Jess, really do appreciate it, my man. You're an absolute legend. Appreciate the support, and Dave will be back soon. Don't you worry. But what do you feel like? Speaking of Dave, he's Harry Kane's biggest lover. Harry Kane, Mia. I mean, it feels like a
Wow.
privilege to have this guy, even be playing for us. It's a privilege that he still plays for us in general. Like he's basically the best striker in the world, and he's stuck with us through, the bad times, through the good times. It's, he's just a class act.
Do you know what it is as well with Kane? It isn't just the footballing side of him. Like, I really like him as a person. You can just see that he's just an all-round lovely guy, and you've got to respect that in this day and age where footballers are known for like falling out of nightclubs with girls on their arms. Kane has never done that. He's always been an absolute pro, an absolute like role model to children as well. So when they look up to a footballer, he is the footballer you want your children to look up to. And
Yeah.
so I respect him so much as a person. And I actually got quite emotional when
Yeah.
it came up, looking on his face. I was just like, it made me really emotional for him. Like, I don't know, I got all goosebumps and everything when I was watching all the videos. And like, yeah, I'm just so happy and probably proud that he's one of our own. Like, it
Mm.
makes you proud to think that's, he's come through a long time for us. He's been through our academy, and this is where he is now, breaking that record. That obviously means a lot because not only did he do that record, I think he's the fastest to get to 200 Premier League goals as well.
I didn't
And
know
he's
that.
only the yeah, I think they said that, and he's the third person because obviously it's only Wayne Rooney and Alan Shearer who's scored over 200. So they obviously he's close to their records now as well. So that's another thing that he's got in his sights
Is he going to leave the
too.
record unbreakable, do you think? Where it's just like no one else could ever, like, it just almost
Yeah, I
seems
think so.
impossible. Like for someone then to like still come through the Spurs Academy to still then, be able to play for as long as he does, as long as he has for this club. Like it just seems like whatever he leaves the record with, it might just be the record forever. Feels
Yeah,
like.
I think so. I don't think that anyone's going to stay like him around for long enough to break it. He's honestly, I just don't think it's going to happen. I
Hmm.
really
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Daniel's spot on what he
yeah.
said about the ultimate role model. He really is the ultimate role model for anyone who does sports because he takes it very seriously as well. He wants to be the best at it, and that's what you want to be, is the best at the job that you're doing. And Kane does take that seriously. And he was a bit old fashioned, like he was the one cleaning boots when he was in the academy and stuff, and they don't really do that anymore.
Hmm.
So he was like a bit old school. He reminds me of an
Hmm.
old school player because he's not like a young footballer are nowadays. Then they're very different.
Do you feel like, it's something like you just said there, like it feels like he's a bit old school and there won't really be many like him in the future because nowadays, players, they are a bit more kind of motivated about how their career looks. They're not as loyal to clubs. Also, he's so loyal to his family as well. He's very, very humble. He doesn't really like to seem to draw a lot of attention to himself, when, necessary, Harry, like, I don't know, like he just has a lot of attributes, like you said, they're a bit old school, but as well as maybe I don't know, like you just don't really see in every top player. Like a lot of the top players in the world, rightfully so, are very full of themselves. I think, rightfully so. But you don't really have that with Harry Kane, I would say. He doesn't really seem to give off the vibe that he's very full of himself or,
No.
really, like as a good example would be Ronaldo, Zlatan, all those guys, absolutely love, themselves when they look at,
Well,
themselves
yeah.
in the mirror or they're watching their own
Did you not?
highlights, and stuff
Did you
like
ever
that.
see the video of Aubameyang when he was in a petrol garage? A Tottenham supporter started really like calling him out in his gold wrapped
Yeah.
Porsche or what Ferrari or whatever car it was. Oh, it's horrible. It's hideous. It's so ugly.
No.
But Kane's probably got like a family car at
Probably
home. He's probably got a
driving a minivan, if anything. He's driving a minivan, I
yeah,
would
because he's
imagine.
got all the children. He's
Yeah.
got 3 children now. So yeah, probably because he needs a big enough car. He's just like you can just see he's just a proper family, down to earth guy. He would never drive a flash car or be flash. It's
Yeah.
just not in him. He's just never been like that. ever, even when he was
Yeah.
younger. But he's been with his now wife when she was his girlfriend since they were kids. They'd known
Mm,
each other, didn't they, since they were very young.
mm,
So they've also he's done that old fashioned thing of marrying his childhood sweetheart, which again, who does that anymore? Nobody does that anymore.
mm. I feel like, with Harry Kane, it's just, I don't know, it's just a privilege, honestly. It really is a privilege, to be watching him. It's a privilege that he's played for us as long as he has. And it's a privilege that, honestly, I feel like I've kind of grown up with Harry Kane, to be honest, to be fair. Like Mia, that's like the striker that really all I've ever known. Like, I guess, like, I did get to sort of see the days of kind of Peter Crouch. I got to see Soldado, and everything. But like, Harry Kane has been the one, kind of that I've got to sort of, see from the very beginning, which also feels like a privilege. And I feel like that's also something that, we don't always realize, is that in the moment, some of these players, some people don't get to ever, see in their lifetime. Like, I never got to see the likes of Jimmy Greaves, never got to see the likes of, Mickey Hazard and other Steve Perryman and those sort of, terrific players, or Dave Mackay or anything like that. And that's what it feels like with Harry Kane, like someone that's in the legendary books, someone that's in the history books, right? That
Yeah, no, that's it. You got to see that, as like obviously I did as
in the
well.
flesh. Glenn
But
Hoddle, a good example as well. Like, I never got to see Glenn Hoddle, and
all right, you don't need to show off that you're young, okay? We know you're young. I've got many years on you, Jacko. So
but
I've seen quite a lot of different players in my time.
but it feels nice to be able to know that you got to see some of the best players that have played for the club,
Yeah,
right? And
no,
that's what it
that's it.
feels like with Harry Kane. Yeah.
Like obviously one of my favorite was Ozzy Ardiles, even though I never got to see him. Like he was a brilliant, wonderful player. I got to see Ginola. I loved Ginola as a player, brilliant player that we had. So I was lucky enough to see some like really good players in our time. But yeah, Harry Kane's got to be one of the best ones that he is the best one that we've had, definitely, for a long, long time in my lifetime anyway. And like I say, I've got quite a few years on you.
Yeah. Well, a few years of wisdom. What do you feel like? What's your favorite all-time, Harry Kane goal? What's the best Harry Kane goal in
Do
your
you know
memory?
what? I'm going to be really like, it's an easy one to go to, like you say, but that mask one, it was the atmosphere as well. It wasn't just that, like, he scored that goal was beautiful, and the way he slid into that corner, everybody went absolutely berserk. Or even any of the North London Derby ones. He scored so many brilliant North London Derby goals. So any of the ones against the scum, because he loves scoring against them, is good by me. Like any of those ones.
Mm. I feel like, what did you make of, my description of, that one he scored against Crystal Palace? Do you remember that? Like, I
Yeah.
agree with you. The Derby goal, the curler, is by far the most iconic, the best one, the one that anybody would pick. But if you kind of picked like a random one that maybe not a lot of people would remember, kind of goal, because maybe it wasn't in
Um,
the biggest game kind of thing. That's what my Crystal Palace goal is for me. Like, one where I was just like blown away by like his sheer ability, and that one was that Crystal Palace goal for me, that inside
oh,
the
do you know
foot
what?
curler.
I
Yeah.
can't think who it was against, but he done a really brilliant header where he like headed it on the floor and it bounced back up into the goal. He did a really like I can't think who it was against now, but it was just brilliant the way he done that header. Like I love it when he does
Mhm.
headers sometimes because he does them and can be so brilliant with his head as well as his feet. So I do like it when he scores some of his headed goals. He's had some brilliant ones of those as well, and in the Champions League as well, he
He scored
scored
some
us some
terrific
really
goals against Dortmund, I know. He's like,
yeah,
especially
that's
Dortmund, he
it.
scored some good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so many, isn't there? I'd have to spend the whole day just going through every single one that he
I think
scored.
Spurs released that 1 through 267. I'm gonna plan on watching that actually tonight.
Oh yeah,
Not
no, I'm
kidding.
gonna watch it. I know that he posted his favourite four. I think he did 4 or 5.
Really? I
Yeah,
should
he
check that
posted
out.
it on his Instagram. I was watching it before I come on, and he did. It was really good. He was saying why each one, like, and he actually did choose the North London Derby one as well, the
Mm,
one with the mask.
I love that.
Because
I'm gonna
obviously that
check that
one's
out.
he likes, yeah. So it's brilliant. It's lovely that they're continuing it as well, posting things, to celebrate. So it's nice. It must be a nice feeling for him as well. And that
Mm,
phone call from Conte, oh, it really made me emotional as well. Honestly, I'm
yeah.
a wreck. I'm just like everything about it just makes me so emotional. And when he got everybody in for the picture and he said
Yeah, that made me
everybody,
emotional. That made me
I was just
emotional.
like, Oh, you're just so lovely. Oh, I just want to like give him a hug. I'll be like, oh, Harry, you just think you're so lovely.
He's just a class act. Like it's I don't know. Like it was also as well like how insistent he was about like bringing the staff in and everything, and the way he called Antonio Conte boss and everything. And, he's just he's so humble as well. I think Harry, but it was an emotional night. I look forward to seeing all those goals as well. I'll probably even have a little cry watching some of those goals. 1 through 267 because there will be some that I definitely have forgotten about. That's for sure. Brandon
Yeah.
Troller saying, I'd marry Emerson Royal at Buckingham Palace. What are your
Oh,
thoughts on
that's
Emerson's performance last night? Tell Brandon, what are you thinking?
He was brilliant actually. He was very, very good. And I think though when we're playing a team that we've got less possession, Emerson's very good because he's better defensively. So he did so well to wind up Jack Grealish. You could see that Jack Grealish, when he couldn't get the better of him, he was getting really wound up with it. He's the
Yeah.
look on his faces, sometimes those looks, he was like really hacked off. So I do think that he did an absolutely brilliant job yesterday. I have to give it to him. I have to hand it to him. He did very, very well. I know I always say about him, but I do always say that he's better defensively because I always said he's good defensively and Doherty's meant to be good going forward, but he's just not. So that's what Porro's for because we've then got the best of both worlds. Then we've got both. We can either pick or choose. So when the team's harder
Daniel
to
said no micro penis last night from Emerson. Maybe no longer.
No, no, because the other one's gone, so we've only got one to have really, so it's not really a contest anymore.
No, it's not a contest. It's too easy these days. Chris says, don't like admitting this, but Royale was man of the match, pocketed Grealish nicely. And Brandon Troller, saying you want to marry him at Buckingham Palace. Is this the turnaround, with the Emerson? Like, is he going to win some fans over or is he going to
Yeah, I
need
think if
maybe a
he
few more of these? He's going to
I
need maybe
think
a
a
few more.
few more, but I think it depends as well. I think we need to remember that it's the games that he plays that he's good at. We have to pick, like, Conte has to pick him for specific games that we know that we need to be more defensively sound. When we
Mhm.
don't, we can pick Porro. So I think it's about choosing the right games for him as a player because you want them to use their best attributes. And for him, that's being more defensive. So him going forward, a few times he had like who was it? He got threaded through a ball, and I'm like, why? It goes to Emerson, man. Like, out of anybody, because he was the furthest forward, and I'm like, really? Because you don't really want it to go to him because he's not really going to end up anywhere apart from
Mm.
behind the goal from miles away. Do you know?
Even felt
Like,
like Harry Kane was surprised when he had that one delivery right, right onto his left peg. Like
yeah,
Harry Kane didn't even know what to do with it. He was like,
Kane
"Holy!"
was like, what? Is that Emerson? Have we got someone else here? What's going on?
He had a late reaction, Harry. It was very hilarious. He had a late reaction to it just because he obviously was surprised. But you spoke about how you pick them right for the right games, Emerson. You just don't chuck them in for every single one. So
Yeah.
Leicester City and AC Milan, the two next games. I mean, how would you go about it?
I'd probably go Porro, and then I would go for AC Milan. I'll probably say Emerson as it's an away game. And although they've been apparently in very bad form, you just don't know for the Champions League. They like people, teams like to turn up, don't they, for those games, especially at home. It's a big game for them as well as it is for us. So I think that probably Emerson's better in the AC Milan game and Porro for the Leicester game if he's okay.
And then Chris saying, Jack, enjoy your Emerson. Enjoy your Emerson loving. It's deserved. I've been in the trenches with King Hoddle about it, Chris. That's for sure. But like I've said before, like it's not even like I even love the guy to like a degree about like what his style, like it's not even like I love the type of player that he is. It's just that I've stuck up for him because I just think he's been unfairly criticized, unfairly mocked, bit disrespected on a lot of stages. And if that's how you want to treat him, then I think it should be more consistent with kind of other players at this club. Because I feel like if you want to treat Emerson that way, then people should have treated Ndombele that way. They should have treated Lo Celso that way. They should have treated Serge Aurier that way. They should have treated Doherty that way, to be honest. So it's just kind of that's how I felt. Like it just felt like it was always a bit, too harsh on Emerson. Always felt a bit too over the top. And so I always felt like I kind of had to stick up for him like a bit more, than necessary. But I don't know. But that's just how it kind of came about, Chris. But do appreciate it. It certainly was for the defenders of Emerson. It certainly was our night last night. And appreciate your support, my man. Happy birthday to you, Chris. But you went for, him in the AC Milan game. I kind of agree with you there. What do you make of the fact that Spurs are playing so well? or at least have had two terrific performances, two huge performances, in the season without Antonio Conte. The Marseille game, we qualified for Champions League, or at least for the knockout
Now,
rounds. And then
I
this one.
think I think people are reading a bit too much into it because don't forget that he'll only be taking instructions from Antonio Conte. Like even he said in his press conference after, he said that 2 wins, like basically let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's like sort of like I've had 2 wins in two, but I really want Conte back because obviously he is getting instructions from Conte. I don't think, and if anybody thinks that he's not, they're a little bit like deluded. He obviously knows how
Yeah.
Conte works. He obviously knows what Conte would want. So I think that
It's not
it's
like he
just
rocked up with a 4-3-3 or, and is playing, a
yeah.
completely different brand of football or anything.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it. And the thing is, we know that the end of last season, this is how we was playing when we had everybody fit. Don't forget, we haven't had a fit and a good, strong bench for a long time because we've had so many injuries. If you think about the list of injuries that we've actually had this season, it's been a lot. So this is
Mhm.
the first time. So I think that that's made a difference. I think that people underestimate that because we really didn't have many options off that bench where we did have options against City, and I think that's going to do us well because if we continue, this is going to be a strong, hopefully, second part of the season
Yeah. I'm
now that
totally
we've
with you.
got everybody back. So I think it wasn't anything to do with that. I think it's more to do with the fact that we've got a stronger bench. I think everybody wanted it because they know Conte was feeling poorly and they want to make him proud. Kane's obviously record was there to be broken. So I think it was just a big team effort. I don't think it's anything to do with Conte not being there because they
Yeah, I don't.
obviously all respect him a lot and they obviously they like Conte. They know what a great manager he is, and he's a very people person because he's very emotional, and you
Yeah.
get very involved with that. When people that like emotional and they're very passionate, you can't help but love people like that. Like I really love it. I love the Italian way. I suppose being
Mhm.
Greek Cypriot as well, I can associate with it because we're very passionate people. So
Yeah.
we're very hands moving when we're talking. We're very energetic when we talk. People, when you hear us talking over each other in Greek,
That's your
people are like,
style.
yeah,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
going on? Everyone's talking over each other. It's like, no, we're just passionate. We're just talking passionately between us.
I'm with you though.
So
Like it's not like Stellini has just rocked up and done something entirely different or done something against the book. That him and Antonio have agreed upon. It's totally right. In fact, it's probably more that these really great performances have come out of the maybe Antonio's absence and that they need to do right by Antonio. But when he's gone, they know that he's gone. They know that he's not there to guide them through it. So they kind of are, trying to prove to him that they can do it without him, prove to him that they can, listen to his instructions and, play out his game plan and his tactics without him being there. I think it's just more, right, doing it for Antonio Conte is maybe what more the answer is. But you have to ask the
yeah.
question. You have to ask the question, I think,
Yeah,
for
no, I know.
sure.
I know it's been going a little bit around that people are like, oh, he's not Antonio Conte's not there, and
Maybe he's the Mikel
possibly.
Arteta. Like I said, he's the Mikel Arteta for Antonio.
I don't know, but I do think, like I say, that it's just maybe people probably looking into it a little bit too much.
Mm,
Like it's just a bit of one of those things that people are going to speculate. I suppose if you're not a really big
yeah.
fan of Conte, then maybe you are going to speculate because you're like, oh, see, Conte's not there and we're doing well. But I just
Mm,
don't think it's like that at all. I really
yeah.
don't.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. This is last bit of news here, Mia. A dominant center back is at the very top of the wanted list for Tottenham's summer window. This is exactly what we want to be hearing because
Yep.
I must be honest, like we are going to probably pay the price still maybe for not getting a center back this window, but these are the kind of, attributes that you want to be, hearing for center backs, at least for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's what we all wanted to hear. And who we get, I think, depends if Conte stays or if he goes. So I think that's a
Feel like we need
factor
one
in it.
nonetheless, though, to be
Oh yeah, no,
honest.
we
We
need.
probably want one that's good for back three, but we still need a big, tall, dominating center
Yeah,
back
no,
to
I
improve.
agree. But what I mean is who it is dependent on
Sure.
like which centre back we get. I think it's dependent if Conte stays or if he goes, because obviously I think that Bastoni said he would come if Conte was there. I think that he was the top one, and he did say he'd come in the summer. So I don't know if there's another manager, if they'd want Bastoni, if they would or wouldn't, or if he'd be suitable. So I think it also depends on who we have as manager. Fingers crossed it is Conte still. I would love for Conte to stay.
Mm,
I really would. But if I was saying this earlier, it's a bit of a funny one because he says he doesn't leave a club unless he wins something. So if we win the FA Cup, will he be satisfied then think I've done my job, I've got them a cup, I can now leave happy? Like, or if he's going to be unhappy because we didn't get top four, is he going to leave? There's
I
so many
want him.
scenarios.
I want him to be here for around 4 to 5 years. That's how I would sort of, would like it to go with Antonio. Even if he wins a trophy, I would love for him to still stay, a season or two after. But I think that is probably realistically what he's been brought in to do. Kind of like what Jose was brought in actually to do, was to be brought in to eventually win a trophy, because that these guys have the track record to deliver trophies at whatever club they've been to, especially in the case of these two in particular. In their recent, successes, they have delivered trophies at whatever club they've been to. And so I think that's just sort of how people see it, is that, or at least how hopefully the board sees it, is that however long it takes, they'll just keep this guy in charge, hopefully, until the trophy is delivered. But we all know that it's not going to probably go that way. There are a lot of hoops and a lot of, kind of ups and downs with this club, and they'll consider maybe letting him go. But that's how I want it to be, at least me. I'd love for him to be here as long as it takes, basically, until we win a trophy.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like I said, I think there's many factors to if Conte
Hmm.
stays or if he goes. I don't think it's really like black and white. I think there's so many different scenarios that we could be put in at the end of the season, like there's just
Hmm.
too many to really think of. So we just never know what's going to go through Conte's mind by the end of the season. So I hope he stays. I do. I really do.
Mm. Stephen Young saying I was lucky enough to see Greaves, Perriman, Klinsman, Peters, Trivers, and Gascoigne as well. Wow, I got to see Gavza and now Kane. I'm a lucky bunny. You certainly are, Stephen. You certainly are, my man. Tell us about the channel, Mia. Or is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I
Um,
didn't get to let you talk about?
no, I don't think there is anything apart from get well soon to David. I hope that he's keeping himself nice and warm and cozied up and resting. And also to Dermot. Dermot better be
Yeah,
resting because I keep telling him off because he's not resting.
mm,
And I've told him off about this. He needs to
please do.
rest. So get well to
Listen to
both of them.
listen to her, Dermot. Listen to her.
I told him I'll come and tell him off. I'll fly over to Ireland to specifically tell him. I'll tell on him as well.
If
I'll
it
tell
has to
his
come to that.
girlfriend.
If it has to
I'll
come to
tell it.
that.
Yep, I'll tell his girlfriend on him. I'll be like, listen, he's not doing as you're saying. So now I'm here to reinforce it as well. We can both sort this situation out.
Exactly right. Well, Mia, tell me about your channel as well. We don't have we don't have as many in the chat today, but I know you're 12 away from 200, and I want to get you
I
there as soon as
am.
possible.
Yes, I would love to reach that 200. Spurs Between Lines, I've been doing lives now Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays in the mornings in the UK time. So it's 8:45 Greenwich Mean Time. So if you can work out what that is for you, you might be able to jump on. It's really nice to have just little chats with everybody in the mornings, as well as doing my pre-records. I've got a Man City review up. So if you could all go and watch that and give it a like, I'd really appreciate it because the algorithm isn't pushing it out. To be honest, it's really like I don't know what's going on with that video, but it's not been pushed out as much. So if everybody could go and watch it all the way through and give it a like, I'd really appreciate it because that pushes up obviously the algorithm, and because that's the way it sort of works. But yeah, I'm trying like to get out like as much content for everybody and hope that you enjoy it. I like to have good conversations with people, fair conversations. I do like to have debates with people. I've got no problem with everyone, like everyone's got a difference of opinion. I'm happy to have like a really good open discussion with people. As long as we keep it civil and nice, that's all good by me. I think that we learn a lot from each other by having
Yeah,
difference of opinions. So
exactly
I do quite like having like our morning chats. I get all different people from different places as well come on because of
right.
the time. So it's quite nice actually to get everybody sort of involved. And I'm going to put polls up to ask what you guys like to chat about as well. So it's nice because you get to like have a bit of a say in what I talk
Hmm.
about because it's obviously I do the content for you guys to enjoy. So
Mm, Everybody, please go over and support Mia's channel. She's 12 away from 200. Let's get her there as soon as possible. And I know when Dave makes a return, he'll eventually also be there for a live
Yeah.
stream with her. And Mia, if
Oh,
you need any help from me this week, let me know. Give me a shout.
no worries. I'm also actually doing my Leicester preview. It's going to be with Sean. So I
Nice.
roped Sean into doing one with me as well. So yeah, it's brilliant. Like everyone's been really lovely and helpful, and I've had so much nice feedback. So I really do appreciate all the feedback from everybody. So yeah, if you got anything constructive, just say to me. Do you try this? Or obviously I can't please all the people all the time, but I'll try my best to obviously do what everyone like to take into consideration what people are saying as well.
Exactly right. Well, Mia, thanks for getting me started. Thanks for
No
joining me
worries.
today on the fan show. I'll see you very soon.
Speak to you soon. All right,
See you, man.
bye.
Bye. Come on, you Spurs. Everybody, big up Mia in the chat. And also follow that link, everybody, and show her some support. 12 away from 200. She's already having Sean on this week. Maybe might have Dave too. So she's going to have some good guests as well, everybody. So please go over, show her some support. Next in line is Daddy Hoiberg, Daniel Larson. You ready, Daniel? There he is.
Yes, let's
All right.
go.
We got to get stuck into a lot here, Daniel. Do you want to get started on the big H? Do you want to just talk about the match in general? Like, where do you want to start?
Oof, where do we start? Start with Emerson because, of course,
Start there.
I'm his
With my
well,
man.
I'm not his biggest fan, but wow,
Do you feel like you owe
wow.
Emerson an apology? Do you think maybe you owe Emerson an apology, or not going to go that far yet?
Well, an apology is maybe a little bit too much, but definitely I like what I see.
You like what you
And
saw yesterday? What was he
and
doing that maybe you haven't seen before?
no, I thought of course his defensive play. I mean, he's always been great at defensive plays, but this time he won everything. He won everything. You couldn't get he was just all over Grealish. I mean, Grealish have nightmares now,
With
that.
all the
But
players for
also,
him to pocket too, it's really satisfying, right? Jack Grealish of all people, right?
yeah,
To see him
oh
pocket.
god.
You were saying
But
though,
also
yeah, go on. Yeah.
yeah, also yeah, I thought he was actually good attacking as well. Like he had one cross to Harry, that was brilliant. Of course, Harry seems to be a little,
Do you think he reacted a little late because he was
surprised.
a little
Yeah,
surprised?
yeah.
It was a big
But
swing and a miss, Daniel. It was like what you and I would have done.
yeah, it's like
That
whoa,
cross.
what's happening? But I love it, and yeah, like I said in the background, like I wouldn't mind seeing him at right centre back against Leicester
Mhm. Yeah.
because I think Pedro will be. Of course, we're going to be a little bit
Yeah.
more
A lot of people
play
have said
differently.
a lot of people have said they want, to see Emerson at right-sided center back because like they just don't want to see Sanchez is what I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Would you
He's
consider
better.
moving
He's
Dyer to
definitely.
right-sided center back, maybe Longley through the middle, something like that?
I don't know. I feel like Dyer after this game, Dyer deserves to stay in the middle. I thought he had a really good game. Him and
Yeah.
Davis was brilliant as well. So no,
I
we
think Ben
can't just drop him.
Davies I think Ben Davies like I'm starting to realize that like it does feel a bit unfair to group him with sometimes, like we do with Sanchez and Dyer and kind of, we I feel like we kind of group him in there, but it feels kind of like hard to do so because like can't really name the last time I've seen Ben Davies like make some big atrocious error or like something like
No,
that's
no.
led to a goal. Like he can be a bit boring with the ball. He doesn't really do anything too
Yeah,
exciting with in possession, but he really is a steady Eddie, I'll be honest. Like
yeah,
and we've said this before, Daniel, like if you don't make mistakes, if you don't make like catastrophic errors, like you're going to probably walk into this team, and
yeah,
that's what I appreciate. And also last night, it felt like they were all tracking Holland's runs. They were, communicating well. They were also stepping up, they weren't sitting too deep or anything either. It was good to see it last night. It felt organized. It was nice.
yeah. Very organized. That's the perfect word. It was complete composure and brilliant setup by. I mean, Conte or Stellini. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, what did you
Good.
make of that
But
defensive shape though? Like it felt like Højbjerg and Bentancur were also making life really hard for like Rico Lewis and Rodri. Like I remember Højbjerg and Bentancur were pushing really high up.
yeah,
They were like leading the press at certain times. Like felt like just the whole team was. It felt like even Daniel. Like we weren't really sitting all that deep, in certain stages. Like we were pressed pretty high, at certain moments.
100%. I mean, we had so many cut chances in the game. In my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, I heard some City fans said we didn't have too many chances. Like, what? What are you talking about?
Oh, I thought we
And also-
wasted actually,
yeah.
Daniel. Only 1-0 felt like, like a lot of wasted chances. Like someone
Yeah.
said in Twitter Reacts, like we could have won 3-0. I think that's correct. I think we could have won 3-0.
Yeah,
be honest.
and also this is the first, probably one of the first game we have dominated in midfield, and this is against like Rodri, and Rodri was awful. Rodri was so bad. We made him probably look bad though, so that's positive because he's one of the best defensive mid. But anyway, enough about that. So that's a huge positive. Hopefully, we can
Well, he
continue
just no.
that.
It's good to mention though, because he destroyed us. I feel like last time we played, at the Etihad, I remember Rodri had a really good game. I remember, and he was like tearing us apart in that with some of the passes he was making. Where in this one, what I noticed, Daniel, was it felt like the front three were like sitting really tight, like really kind of compact, and they were making those
Yeah.
passes, into Rodri and those passes into Rico Lewis. They were making it really difficult. But then even if they did get it into like Rodri, immediately you would see like Højbjerg or Bentancur, like, press up and, not allow him to sort of like turn and kind of like face, the defense. So it felt like, I don't know, like maybe that was the game plan, was just sort of take Rodri out of the game. Maybe by taking Rodri out of the game, you basically take Man City out of the game.
Yeah, especially with De Bruyne and Gundogan not playing. He's the best, next best there. So that's perfect game plan by the whoever. I mean, Stellini or Conte. I don't know who was really.
Well, what do you make of that question then? I said, like, the fact that Spurs have won 2 big games without Antonio Conte, like Marseille as well as this match. It's it's crazy, to be honest. Like, it shows that we can get it done without Antonio.
Well, that feels like they're still playing for him, in my opinion. That's just they're still completely behind him and would love him to stay. So
I think you're spot on.
that's just positive for me.
I think that's the right reaction. I think that's the right answer. The right response to that exactly is that it almost feels like what you should be drawing from that is that when he's absent, they're doing it for Antonio Conte. Clearly, like they're fighting for him in his absence, like when he's gone, and that's always a good sign. I think for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right there. What do you make of just this performance in general, though? Was it basically the best performance of the season?
100%. I mean, first and second half, we were absolutely insane, and I thought this kind of annoys me a little bit because we know now we have this in us. We need to keep it up now. We have to. And this was also, I feel like, because this is what I said before the season started, or kind of, I think we should be up there.
I think so too.
Fight for the title.
I think, what do you think? This is a game, though, felt like, Daniel, like in order for, like you just said, in order for us to transform this season, to turn this season around, felt like we kind of needed to win that game. Like we couldn't lose that game and really have like actual hope that we could like turn this around. Like you need to win a big game like that, right, to get it started, I think.
Yeah, of course. So. I mean, is this the first time we've beaten it, like top 6 this season?
This season, maybe so. This season,
I think so.
I think it might be the first time we've beaten a team above us this season.
Yeah,
could be. I could be wrong, but I think it might be. And that's exactly, maybe the sign that we need, right, to turn this around. Like maybe the players, I don't know, like it's hard to know, like whether they're just buying in more, maybe they just are just starting to pick themselves up from a really bad spell. It also could just be, I know Dark Sun G just said the other day, like a fully fit squad. We now have a fully fit squad. That's also part of it.
That's true. That's true. And also some key players rested as well from the FA Cup fixture. Like Højbjerg, that could have been the key for him to have a absolute 10 out of 10 game. So
what did you make of Højbjerg's performance? I mean, last night, it's exactly what we needed, huh?
I'm still over it. Jesus, it was so good. It was just that's what Højbjerg is,
Yeah, and also the goal he set up for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrific to see big PEH doing that. Like it was just bullying Rico Lewis. Stepping in, winning it, carrying it the way he did. He carried it past Rodri, rides the challenge off Rodri, slips it to Harry Kane. It was terrific.
Yeah.
It's terrific.
Love it.
Viking performance. And also there's so many times when he got stuck in, won so many challenges. It was he was terrific. And also I felt like even the referee didn't even allow Højbjerg to win even more. Like felt like he was, he was being hard on Højbjerg on a certain few occasions. Like remember Højbjerg one time made a challenge and then, he got pulled back and everything. It was just terrific performance from him. Him and Bentancur were great.
Yeah. It's so good to see,
Yeah.
When you're so a big fan of him. That's what you want.
And he was, let's be honest, like how many games in a row do you feel like it was? He was like well below that sort of level. Like felt like 3, 4, 5 games in a row. It felt like he was, putting in kind of dud performances, before that.
Yeah, yeah, maybe since the World Cup, after the World Cup, it's been
Yeah, I'll
pretty
be
poor.
honest.
So
I think you're right.
Here we go. I'm back again. All good.
Quick question back on Emerson, actually, Daniel. Who do you play, against Leicester City, and then who do you play against AC Milan?
Leicester City, I would, like I said, I would love to see Emerson right centre back and Pedro.
Yeah.
And Milan, it's hard, but I think I will go Pedro. Yeah, I think I will do. And then Romero will be back. So
yeah,
we go home. I will go Pedro, and maybe away I will go Emerson, probably something like that.
I can see why people would go for Emerson at right-sided center back, because you just want to play him after such a great game. It just feels like, with Dyer having an okay performance, maybe you just go with Davies, Longley through the middle, and Dyer at right-sided center back. We've also seen actually before that Dyer hasn't played all that bad, I think, at right-sided center back, at times, before when he moved out there. So I don't know,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
I'm complimenting, some of these guys a bit too much, but
Well,
as much as I'd love to see Emerson play again, I feel like it is, a bit strange to move him to right-sided center back.
Yeah, no, maybe I'm just a little bit too.
Well, we all want to see him again. Emmer Goat. We want to see him again.
Yeah.
When it comes to Harry Kane, though, let's talk about Harry Kane, Daniel. I mean, all-time leading goal scorer. You're looking at a legend in front of your own eyes, my man. One of the best strikers of all time, basically at this stage. Alongside Jimmy Greaves, the best striker in Spurs' history. I mean, how does it feel to see our man, the Big H, get the goal?
He deserves so much. Like I said, the ultimate role model has been, still getting, hard time from people for some reason. They love to pick down on him, which I hate to see, and it's so great to see. I mean, the best player I've seen of ever play football. I mean, when he's on it, he's just unstoppable. The perfect footballer. So
and a role model in so many ways, like humble as well. Like, how I brought up earlier, I said the likes of, it feels like Messi, Ronaldo, Zlatan, even like Benzema, like all these kind of guys, like they're all a little bit obsessed with themselves, a little bit. They kind of, they have a bit of that strut in their step and like that kind of swagger, where it feels like Harry Kane, he has that confidence, but he doesn't seem to be like the most like boisterous kind of guy or like anything like that. He's, he seems kind of very humble in comparison to some of like the big stars of like, compare him to like Mbappe, like, in comparison, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a very humble type, personality in comparison.
Yeah, they will not get along, I think, in the dressing room. But after the World Cup when he missed that penalty, I thought that's gonna get like he's gonna be down after that. Not his confidence gonna be shut down, but he's proved me wrong. And wow, I can't believe he picked himself up like this and just proving again he's the best striker in the world. So
how many times has he proven people wrong, though, Daniel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Favorite Harry Kane goal? Give it to me, my man. Maybe a few
It's gotta be.
or a couple.
Oh, yeah, there's so many. I mean, there's so many, but I think the Arsenal, the curler, Jesus Christ.
Do you have like a random one? Because that's, I think, everybody's favorite. And then do you have like a random one, like maybe one that sticks out, as well, like in your head? Like I said, it could be a completely random game or something like that.
The one against Leicester, one on the ground.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember.
From this season?
Mental. No, from when Poch got sacked. He was on the ground. He fell and then shot.
The tripping goal.
The tripping one. Yeah,
the tripping goal. Exactly.
Mental.
That is mental. That is mental. To be fair. Also, he toe pokes it. Yeah, you're right. That's legendary. That's a good one. That's a good random goal shout. That was a good answer. The best answer I've got so far. Daniel, good one, my man. Let me see. I think one more question here lined up for you, brother. But a very dominant center. This one. Tottenham will not sell Harry Kane to an English club this summer, says Gary Jacob of the Times. And also we got some rumors, and some murmurings a while ago that he might be interested in renewing the contract. We can't get too ahead of ourselves because I think a lot could go wrong, and then he doesn't renew. But let's say he does renew. Let's say he does sit down for contract talks. I mean, how lucky are we? And I mean, it's just terrific. This is good news to see, right? Even here, this is good news.
Yeah, it's awesome news and the right ideas. But if you can leave, you can't sell him to a rival. You know, gotta send him abroad. But I actually think he's gonna stay, so I'm not bothered. I think he's gonna stay here and break records.
He's sticking
Hopefully
with
win
us, says
trophies as
Daniel.
well.
He's sticking with us, says Daniel. I like it. A dominant center back is at the very top of the wanted list for Tottenham summer window, says Sammy Mockbell. This is exactly the profile of center back that I was wanting, Daniel. You want someone like a Van Dijk, I think, for us. That's what we need, a man mountain.
Yeah, I agree. Guardiola is my first pick, though. Completely.
Yeah.
He's, oh my God, what a player. I'm still living mad we didn't get like a Skriniar this January, but if we can make up for that in the summer, I'll be fine.
It feels like maybe when they kind of are describing a dominant type center back, it's like that could be someone like Gavardio, right? Who just wins, everything and is just an animal. Who's kind of like, also Romero, where he's super aggressive. Or maybe they mean like someone who's really tall and like strong and has that sort of physical kind of stature that they're going for. And maybe that means like Ndika or someone like that. It could be, it's hard to know, but dominant center back. That's the type of, adjective that we want to be hearing. That's for sure. But Daniel, anything else that, maybe you wanted to talk about? Anything else that you want to chat about that I didn't get to let you, say?
See here.
What do you think about for the rest of this week, going into Leicester City, feel like Antonio Conte, I think he's not going to be back for the next game. Could he be back for the AC Milan game? And also the fact that AC Milan is next week. I mean, Champions League, Daniel, like it's crazy.
Yeah. Let's get hyped for that. Yeah.
And they lost in the Milan derby just recently. AC Milan, they're actually under the turmoil.
Yeah, they're looking poor. So I think we should be really taking advantage of that. And here the Champions League music is always puts a smile on my face. So that's just great to see. And Leicester, again, we gotta smash them because they're not that good.
Maybe this is the last question for you, my friend. Pedro Mendez saying, is it just me or are we about to smash the rest of the season? Are you getting, like bit of goosebumps or something about the rest of the season? It feels like this could turn where it's like last time, where it's like we beat Man City, we lose to Burnley the following game, right? We beat Man City, we lose to Leicester the following game. But if we beat Leicester, you start to then think like, okay, like, a few wins on the bounce here, maybe things are starting to turn around.
Well, you know me, I've been, a little bit negative this season.
I think you're more reasonable than I am, Daniel. I wouldn't say negative.
Yeah.
You don't get ahead of yourself like I do.
But it feels different now. I feel I don't know why. It just feels a little bit different, and I feel very positive going into the rest of the season.
Yeah,
especially now since we've proven that we can absolutely smash City. I think FA Cup especially is there for the taking.
Yeah. It's good to hear, my friend. It's good to hear.
And top four, I didn't realize this about top four. I didn't realize we're just 6 points behind City, apparently, which is mental.
1 point behind Newcastle. They have a game in hand, but 1 point behind Newcastle at this moment.
That's mad. So I didn't know that. So that's also completely up for the grab.
Even Man City, though, with the financial fair play sort of thing, who knows? Maybe they might get points deducted. It's hard to see that happening, though, Daniel. Like they've gotten away with this stuff before Man City. So I don't know. I'm not getting too ahead of myself. Of any of the things I get ahead of myself on, I'm not getting too ahead of myself on the Man City. They can
probably have some power behind the scenes we don't know about. So
exactly.
But it would be lovely. Jesus Christ.
I mean, that would push us into top four. That's another way to get into top four. We're just sort of relying, I think, on the likes of Man City or, the likes of, not Man City, the likes of Man United or the likes of Newcastle probably dropping points. We just need to hope that one of them maybe starts slipping up. Probably more likely, I would say Newcastle by the looks of things. Maybe more likely Newcastle because Man United do seem to have it together. But yeah, Daniel.
And also, sorry, one last thing. I don't know if you know about Rory Jennings, the Chelsea fan.
Yes, I do.
I mean, talking absolute bollocks again. I mean, fuck Arsenal. We have to concentrate on ourselves.
Are you speaking about like wanting Spurs to
Yeah,
lose
I
/
can't
win
believe
or whatever.
Spurs celebrating their win. Fuck off, you twat. We gotta concentrate on ourselves and fuck about every other team right now because we need
Yeah.
this. We need positive. And seeing our club win is one of the best feelings in the world. So anyway, leave it out on that.
Like that's a good final
Yeah.
word, Daniel. No, I'm with you, my man. I'm with you. Just focus on ourselves. And some people just don't like seeing Spurs win. That's all it is, my man. Some people just don't
Yeah,
like seeing
exactly.
Spurs win.
Well,
Big up
anyway.
though, Daniel. Appreciate you, my man. Let's hope for another good Daddy Hoybier performance in the next one. I'll see you soon, brother.
Don't worry. Yeah. Take care, Jack. See you later.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Daniel. Everybody, big up Daniel in the chat there. Good man. Had a good chat with him there. And we've been waiting for that Hoybier performance, him and I. We've been waiting for that Hoybier performance. Please, everybody, feel free to hit that link and come on and have your say. Hit that like button if you have been enjoying the fan show thus far. But we're going to be speaking to KPV next.
Hello.
Hey, KPV.
You're right.
Harry record breaker Kane. I mean, let's talk about the big H, KPV. How are you feeling about him? The legend.
Brilliant, man. Feeling great. Like, he saved it for the big game. Like, I think it was the right choice for him to have a rest against Preston and not play. And, like, yeah, we won. Like, he was probably ill. I heard he was ill against Preston. So, yeah, it was the right choice for the boss to rest him and get him to play this and save it for the big game, break the record. And, yeah, he could have done it in the derby, in North London derby, if we hadn't have lost. But yeah, but he saved it for this one. He just loves scoring against City. It's a shame that Kulu and Son couldn't, because this is Son's game, but Kane always scores against them. So, but you never know. We could get them in the Champions League and FA Cup, and we'll just smack them up again. Like, yeah, we always, yeah. I just don't want Man United staying in the FA Cup because the draw's been kind to us actually. The path to the path to Wembley is
It's being paved for us,
been
KPV. It's being
played.
paved for us. So you're basically saying you would take Man City, anytime now. Like you're confident against Man City at any stage.
Yeah, I'm confident against Man City any stage, like the Etihad where we beat them in the Champions League. Like they were all complaining about Llorente handballing it, but no, the referee gave the goal. He went to the monitor VAR and checked, and it hit his hip. It hit Llorente's hip, and it didn't come off his arm because you can't score a goal with your arm. But Balotelli done it against Norwich when he just done like this, and it went in. Like he scored a goal with his arm, but the others can't, and it's a shame you
They
can't
can't do it like
him.
they can't do it like our man Llorente can. I'll tell you that.
Man. He was there yesterday. Llorente was there.
We could have. I felt like I could have brought him on, if necessary. If it was Kinchin sick time, we still need to score a goal. KPV, I would have brought him on. Speaking of which, though, felt like we could have won by more goals. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
We could have won by, we could have scored maybe more. It felt like 1-0.
Oh,
We could have won 2-0,
I can't
3-0.
hear
We
you, Jack.
wasted some
I
chances.
can't hear.
Can't hear me? Can't hear me, KPV? Can you hear me now? KPV, can people still hear me? KPV, maybe try coming back and logging out and logging back in. Can you hear me, everybody in the chat? Can people hear me in the chat?
I can't hear.
You can't hear me?
Shit. I have to restart. Shit, man.
Can people hear me?
Oh.
Well, I can hear you, KPV. I think everybody else can hear you. You can't hear me right now? KPV? You there? KPV, try redoing it. KPV, try logging out and logging back in. Try logging out and logging back in, KPV. You can hear my brain out of Brooklyn. Pick up King Huddle. All right, we're going to try to bring KPV back in. Michael, if you're there, my man, feel free to come over as well. Michael, I'd love to speak to you because if KPV can't come on, Michael, I got to speak to you next. And then I'm going to put the link in the chat actually as well at everybody, that anyone else that wants to come on, had their say, have a good chat with me, you're welcome to do so. And we're going to see if KPV can come on and come back in. And Michael, I need you to come back, my friend, because you're on after KPV. Big up, King Huddle. Good to hear everybody can hear me. I'm not sure what happened there with Mr. KPV. Good to see you, Sebas Wolf. Let me know, Sebas, how you're feeling, dude, because honestly, yesterday was absolutely freezing, Sebas. Dude, I mean, did you, like, how are you feeling these days? Because honestly, my ass was absolutely frozen yesterday in New York. Pick yourself up, Sebas. Can you hear me now, KPV?
Yeah, I can hear. Favorite Harry Kane goal would have to be the one against Arsenal, not the mask one, but the one where it hit the crossbar and went in. We won 2-0 during the COVID season. Kane and Son, the best season, won the most goals and most assists. That one, we won 2-0. Son's cracking goal. It was that goal against Arsenal. Crossbar went in. Boom, 2-0 win. And the one against Crystal Palace was the Irish Cafu assisted him, and Bale assisted to Doherty, then the Irish Cafu assist, and we won 4-1 at home against Palace. So 2 favourite Harry Kane goals for me.
Yeah,
and
those are
yeah,
2 terrific ones for me.
2
Yeah,
favourite
I'm
ones.
with
They're
you.
the ones, not the mask one against Arsenal. The one hit the crossbar, went in. The assist from Son to Kane. That's my 2 favourite ones.
Class.
But 2 favourite.
Is he going to leave the record unbreakable, do you think, after this? Is he going to maybe leave it where it can never be broken again?
I think he might score more goals. 267. He's going to keep scoring more goals. He's going to get to at least, what,
300?
300 something, 367, 367, then that won't be broken.
I like it. KPV.
367, and
I think it's going to be impossible to break it once he gets over 300. I think that's impossible, basically. Like, you would have to be
367 goals for Tottenham, yeah.
you
But
basically need Dane Scarlett, to maybe break it or something like that. But it's just impossible. It seems unbreakable.
impossible, man. Like, maybe Kulu could, Son. Like, Kulu or Son can break it. Like, it's one of them two. But we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, it's good that Kane will not be sold to a Premier League rival. Like, no chance. And he wants to stay in London. And yeah, he's going to stay with us because we're in 2 competitions. The double is still on. Champions League and FA Cup. If we win them both, then that basically confirms Kane and Conte staying, because Conte said he won't leave us until he's won a trophy. Like, that's what he said. Then, yeah, like, if he wins them 2 I just said, FA Cup, Champions League, then he can, but he ain't leaving, let's be honest.
What did you make of Antonio Conte's phone call to Mr. Harry Kane last night?
I loved it, man. I heard it on Harry Kane's Instagram. I saw, and in boss, like, that's him, the gaffer,
Boss man.
Yeah, the boss man. That's what he is. And like, yeah, like, I bet the great Sir Bill Nicholson would have been proud watching that. Like, yeah, I bet he would have been proud of that. He would have loved managing Harry Kane. Like, yeah, the best striker in the Premier League. People need to show some respect. Like, and I do not like what Warwick Jennings said. Oh, we're celebrating our win. Do one, kid. Like, you can't beat Fulham, mate. We can. Them lot just lost. Them lot just can't beat them.
They just don't like seeing Spurs win, KPV. I think they're jealous because, they haven't seen Chelsea win in some time. So they just don't know what a win is.
Yeah, cry more, Warwick.
I think they've forgotten how to win. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, they've forgotten how to win. And the number 9 curse continues. Like, the number 9 curse continues, man. I thought Aubameyang was going to be the one to break it, but it turns out he's a flop. And he's not in the Champions League squad. So, Warwick, mate, good luck with trying to beat Dortmund, but you ain't winning that Champions League again. You become the only London club to win 3. Good luck, kid.
Speaking
This
of
is
Champions League,
Arsenal.
KPV, I mean, we're playing AC Milan next week. I mean, that's massive, absolutely massive going
Yeah,
up against
AC
AC
Milan
Milan.
just lost to Sassuolo 5-2 and lost to Inter Milan 1-0 and two consecutive defeats, like back-to-back losses. Like they're not great and they were home, but as I've stated many times, we've never lost to AC Milan. We've never lost to them. The last time we went to the San Siro, we won. It was Crouch assisted by Aaron Lennon under Redknapp, under Harry Redknapp. So AC Milan can't beat us. They only beat Arsenal in the Champions League. That was when they won what 4-0, and Arsenal only won 3 at the Emirates. But the comeback wasn't on. They only won 3-0 and still couldn't go through. So they lost to Chelsea, AC Milan. But if Chelsea can beat them, then we can. But it's a
Exactly.
shame that they won't be beating Dortmund next week. But we
Who do you
can.
who do you play against AC Milan at right wing back, KPV? Do you play Emerson Royal against Rafael Leao, or do you play Pedro Porro in the Champions League? Who do you go for at right wing back?
I'd probably say, Pedro Porro, like, there's a new song for him. He traded Lisbon for Tottenham High Road. Porro, Porro, Porro. Traded Lisbon for Tottenham High Road. Like, I start him basically, but
Mm-hmm.
like people are saying we should start Porro against Leicester, then Emerson, Chicken Royale against AC Milan, and like, yeah, but the gaff will make their decisions, and I was surprised that Doherty's contract was terminated by us. Like I was
Yeah,
shocked.
what did you make of that, KPV? Are you a little upset by Doherty's contract getting terminated, or do you see the logic
Like
behind it?
I think people clearly don't know the rules. You can only have 8 players out on loan, but I think 8, but terminate his contract. Like Doherty has been there than Emerson Royal had. We bought him in 2020 under Jose, and then like he gets his contract terminated, like we did with Serge Aurier last season, before the start of last season, and like terminating contract. We're not a terminating contract club. We aren't a sacking club who sacks managers, and they're the two things that we aren't. But that's what we do. Like seriously, I'm we it looks like we finally found a replacement for Carl Walker. Like we didn't do that for the last 5 or 6,
Mhm.
7 years since he left, and we should never let Kieran Trippier go. But Kieran Trippier, I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you, mate. Kane's going to keep scoring against Newcastle because you don't want him to score. What happened, pal? He scored against you when you lot beat us, but because he loves scoring against Newcastle. And watch when we come to yours, mate. You're getting spanked. You can't win it so far, and you conceded. So watch
What do you
out,
think?
Kieran
Can
Trippier.
Newcastle slip up from here, KPV? Because we need Man United or Newcastle to slip up, or we need Man City to get deducted points for their financial mishap.
Yeah,
But we need one of them to fall out.
yeah. I think I'd like maybe Newcastle to slip up because they they did slip up at the Emirates and they did take a point off Arsenal, but that means they still drop points and they slipped up against West Ham. Like so, it's the what Callum Wilson derby this Sunday. Newcastle against Bournemouth. The Callum
Callum
Wilson
Wilson
derby.
derby.
Yeah, because he played for Bournemouth. So hopefully, I think it's in Bournemouth because Newcastle just had a home game. So, but Newcastle will probably win, but I don't want to win. So I said I wanted to draw against between Newcastle West Ham to a friend, and I got it spot on. So hopefully it will continue. And I triple captain Marcus Rashford in my FPL team. So
Did I tell you, KPV? I actually set my lineup for once, my man, and it didn't. You didn't have to remind me. I set my lineup this time for the
I
last
triple
week. I didn't see
captain
how I did, but
Rashford.
I did set it up.
I cheers Zoe. Thanks. I triple captain Rashford, so I've still
Nice.
got him to play with Shaw and De Gea. So,
They play
but
Leeds. I think they play Leeds twice or something.
yeah,
Coming coming
like
night.
Leeds 2 times. The rivalry between those two has been going on for decades, and Leeds haven't won at Old Trafford for God knows how long. Like Leeds
But America's
can't win
favorite
them.
Yank got sacked, so it looks like they're gonna go with somebody else, against
Yeah,
Man
like
United.
I heard that the manager they sacked last season could be coming back.
Bielsa.
Bielsa. That's what I heard on
Mm.
Sky Sports News. That a Leeds fan who has the podcast said that he would like Poch, but are you having a giraffe and a laugh, mate? He'd rather work on a farm than manage any other team. He's Tottenham through and through, so he ain't gonna go to a team that's
Love that.
fighting relegation. The
He's
team
ours.
he was last at was Southampton,
He's
and
ours.
he's ours, man. So you can get somebody else per lead, but go after I don't know, like Tuchel or someone, but you ain't getting Poch, mate. So
Yeah, you
go
can't have
get
Poch.
somebody
Not
else.
allowed to
There's
touch
many
him.
more managers. You ain't getting Poch. Like, yeah, hopefully Conte stays because we're in them two competitions. The double is still on. And did you hear what Grandpa Brian said today? That if Man City get deducted points, we're challenging for the league. Like, be positive, people. I loved it. Grandpa Brian, good to see you back and good to see you doing well. So,
Yeah. Glad to see
wishing.
the surgery went well
Yeah, I
and
still want to
everything.
wish Conte speedy recovery, but he wanted to watch the game, but the doctor said he couldn't. But yeah, I
He'll be
wonder if
back soon, Mr. Conte. I
he'll
think
be back.
I bet he'll be back maybe even for that AC Milan game, I imagine. He's
Mhm.
a guy that you think will recover sooner rather than later. He's built like a tank, Antonio Conte is, Kyle. He's built like a
Yeah,
tank.
he's
Any final words, my man? And then give me that send off, please.
like, yeah, I'm just gonna call out a few people, like,
Who you
and
calling out?
some people like pundits or something, like I don't know, ex-pundit Paul Merson saying we're not getting top four. Well, watch out, kiddo. Your team just got spanked by Everton, Sean Dyche, 1-0, and they've now lost their first game in 2023. Like that's their second defeat in the Prem. So that's basically 4
Okay.
defeats on the trot.
So we're calling
Like
out Paul Merson. We're calling out Rory Jennings. Anybody else?
Roy
KPV?
Jennings and like yeah, so any other pundits who claim we're not getting top four can do one. And Gary Neville said something, I don't know what he said, but yeah, man of
I love
match,
it.
Zinedine Salzburg, but I got to go for Emerson Chicken Royale. He pocketed Jack Grealish. And
Are
yeah,
you
like,
are you changing your mind on Emerson KPV, or do you think you need a few more good performances, from Memo, to change your mind on him?
I'll probably stick with him because,
Good man.
like, I'm not going to change my mind yet. Even if we, don't beat Leicester, like, I'll probably change my mind. But yeah, Leicester first, then we've got AC Milan, then the Spammers, West Ham, and then AC Milan again, I think, afterwards. That's in 8th of March, I think. But I'll be going to the game anyway. I'll be
Nice.
going to, yeah, I'll be going to that
Who do you
game.
play against Leicester City at right-sided center back? By the way,
Yeah,
KPV.
yeah, put Emerson Royal at right centre back because Romero's gonna only miss that game, so I put him there. Like, I still don't understand why Stellini didn't bring on Dan Juma because why would you bring on Ryan Sessegnon and Sanchez? Like, why would you bring on them two? You didn't bring on the new signing, Dan Juma. Come on, man. Like,
Mhm.
it looked like he didn't have like from another Dutchman scoring a debut against C to another, like only Bergwijn. So that didn't continue. So that one is
Let's hope Danjo gets a late minute winner against Leicester City, or maybe gets a goal like Stevie B did. Exactly
yeah,
right.
two. Like yeah, I think he's gonna get two, but Kane loves scoring against Leicester. And so, but yeah, Saturday, 3 o'clock, Leicester getting spanked like they did against us at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Brendan
Exactly.
Rodgers should have been sacked after the game, but I don't know what he's still doing there. But they
We'll get
just
him sacked. We'll do it a second time, KPV.
second time
We'll
he's getting spanked, you're getting destroyed. Like, yeah, hopefully, if we concede penalty, like I don't know why Laurie saved it. It was off his line and had to be retaken by Tielemans. Like, Laurie has saved a penalty in this game, and that was when we reached the Champions League final, and Vardy missed. So Vardy, I believe, didn't start, did start, but he
Yeah.
always turns up against us. But Madison, like, I heard we've been given a boost about him.
Yeah, I think he's been flirting with coming over to Spurs, KPV. That would be nice if
After what he did to us years ago, calling us out, like he didn't like us and cheering on Liverpool when we had AVB, like disrespecting us, and Arsenal wanted him.
now he's
Well,
twerking for Spurs all of a sudden. Now he's
working for
twerking for
Spurs,
Spurs.
man. Like, yeah, and like
All
other
right.
players, we need a centre back. Like,
Yeah,
bring
KPV, we're looking at a big, tall, dominant center back this summer. How about last question for you, my man, and then I got to let you go.
yeah,
But we're looking at a big, tall center back this summer. It's exactly what you want to hear, right?
yeah, centre back, tall one, and there's only one tall one I know, and that's the Brian Daigle look like Bonucci. Give me Bonucci, man. Kulu, Bentancur, Conte know him well. Give me
Bonucci
Bonucci,
and
man.
Bastoni get an Italian takeover, 2-for-1
Yeah,
Italian deal.
2 Italian takeovers, and the Italian job will be complete. Like, is what Stellini Italian?
Stellini's Italian, yes, he is. We'll have
So,
Antonio Conte, Paratici,
like,
Bastoni, Bonucci,
yeah, so give me
Udogi.
them 2 centre backs, and then I believe we could challenge for the league next season. Like, it's gonna be tough, but yeah, give me them 2. Then I think we'll be a force to be reckoned with. No one
Mm,
will be able to stop us. So give me them 2. Levy, get your checkbook out and get them 2 in. Like,
love it. Love it.
hopefully, yeah.
Give
And
me the send off,
to-
KPV.
yeah, I'm gonna play some FIFA now. Gonna buy Pedro Porro, and I'll be watching War tonight. And so I'm off, people, and big up everyone. Mia, I'll hopefully come on your channel soon. And
Nice.
as always, Levy out. We want Dago in. We want Dago in.
Big
Peace.
up, KPV.
Big up.
Legend. See you soon, brother. Great
Yes,
call, my friend. Great chat with you, KPV. I'll see you soon, my friend. See you soon, dude. Come on, you Spurs, everybody, and big up KPV in the chat. Love that, man. Always love having a good chat with him. The next one in line is Michael, and Michael, hopefully we have a good chat ourselves because I haven't seen you. I feel like in a while, Michael. Here you are.
Yeah, Sap. Yeah, how you doing? Can you hear me well?
What's going on?
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
last time I spoke to you, it was doom and gloom, and now we're on a high.
Yeah, I've been completely like run over like a train by my university. Seriously, like the past 2 weeks were
Now
a
the crunch
nightmare.
time. It's now the crunch
Yeah,
time.
I'm pretty much done with all the exams.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, like seriously, past 2 weeks I've been going to sleep at like 5 a.m. and waking up at 9, and just like 2 weeks straight. So seriously, this weekend was probably the first time I had like to get some sleep, to just wake up without any like issues, right? So yeah, it's been tough.
Catching up with me. Thanks for staying up and catching up with me. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I know you've been distracted with your studies, but I mean, what do you make of, maybe Spurs' season now after that win? Like, are you going to get ahead of yourself like I always do, and maybe make some bold conclusions about where we're headed from here? Or do you feel like, you can't get too ahead of ourselves? Because we have seen us, Michael, we've seen us beat Man City before, only to lose to like Burnley, the next game. So what do you think of this? Like, how do we read into this? And even someone earlier say, like, I have the itchy feeling, or, they say they have an itch that, this season might be turned around. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of like a combination of a few things. I think that like a win like this is so important in a season, right? I think like even though we lost to Burnley right after City, then I think we went on like an unbeaten streak, like stopped by United. I think the game that we lost at their place,
Sounds right.
where Ronaldo decided to turn up for one game in like last 5 years. Of course he did, right?
They always turn up against us, yeah.
Yeah, but I think like when I was watching this game, I felt a bit different watching that performance. I saw some hunger, I saw some like desire, and some passion on the pitch, because I have a feeling there were some games when we were just tagging along, and even though we won, like the performance itself wasn't so convincing. Whereas like watching that City game, listen, I know it's not the City of old, right? It's not the City that got 100 points or 90 something or whatever, right? There is clearly something wrong with that squad.
Still a Man City though that scored
Yeah,
4 goals against us in one half last time.
Yeah, but it's
I know what you mean.
still a Manchester City. It's nothing to be scoffed at. Listen, I absolutely hate all these nightful comments about like us being happy that we won against City. I couldn't care less what Arsenal do this season. I care about my team, right? And I care about what Tottenham do, right? And 3 points is 3 points against City. If like, listen, if you like offered me Arsenal winning the league and us getting fourth and an FA Cup compared to Arsenal getting second and us getting fifth and no trophy, I'm taking the first option all the time. I don't care about Arsenal. Listen, it's one more trophy for them, but what we do with our season is important, right? I think last time we did a call in, I think I told you that I don't really care about the season anymore.
Mm-hmm.
After a performance like this, I see something there. I know it's maybe a bit flip floppy because one week you are like all doom and gloom as you said like last time we talked, and then I come on like this week and I'm kind of positive. As I said, it's a combination of things. I think that this performance was brilliant, and I also just looked at the upcoming fixtures that we have, right? And I even wrote them down, and I think like I would say in the next 7 games, I think all of them are winnable. All of them are winnable, and I think like the toughest one will be Wolves and Everton away, because I actually feel like those two teams started playing kind of well recently. I will always be afraid of Daesh. I adore this man. He's
the guy that, like you said, he's the guy that beat us right after we beat Man City, and we actually went on a win streak right after. So he beat us while we were in form, as well.
Listen, he just beat the league leaders, right? With a side that he just took over, and I think people tend to say a lot of snidey comments towards his style of football. But people forget that it's just in England 4-4-2 isn't really like a common strategy, right? I believe there was one instance when, if you remember, when Ancelotti was leading Everton and they were playing against Burnley, Daesh's Burnley, right? And Ancelotti spent the whole press conference before the match complimenting Daesh's Burnley and the way that he sets up his 4-4-2. And because Ancelotti used to play 4-4-2 back in the day, and pretty much his whole career is built on a 4-4-2, and he said that Daesh does it really, really well. It's one of the best 4-4-2s he ever saw. Ancelotti, pretty much one of the best managers in the world, said that, right? So I don't think we should underestimate the Daesh's Everton, because I actually feel like their squad is kind of good. And it's because of Fat Frank that they were doing so poorly, in my opinion. Let's be honest. But okay, maybe let's.
I know, I'm with you. I completely agree. No, I completely agree. I'm just laughing at that, to be honest, because it is, it just it's fun to laugh at Fat Frank. But I'm with you. And actually, you seem to kind of ride over that Chelsea game. Do you not think that Chelsea game will be hard? But it is interesting, Michael, too, that we play AC Milan, right? That's a massive, massive game. Let's say we get a good result out of that one. Spurs will have a lot of momentum. We actually go into then playing Tottenham, or Spurs play West Ham at home, and then followed by Chelsea at home. So we have 2 London derbies at home in a row. Those are also huge chances to get some momentum.
Yeah, I think when I was on We Are Tottenham TV yesterday, I think I said something along the lines of, we have really tough games when you look at them on paper, because Leicester away is not easy. West Ham always muster something up against us, although we tend to beat them at home. And Chelsea have this like stupid thing of turning up against us every single time for some reason.
Graham Potter's version
like,
even turned up.
Yeah,
That's
it wouldn't surprise me if they turned up against us, got a draw like at our ground or even a win, and then proceeded to do like they did so far.
Proceeded to be shit
It
out of the way.
seriously wouldn't surprise me. So it's not like I'm brushing Chelsea aside, but coming back to my original point, I think we have like Leicester, Milan twice, West Ham and Chelsea. On paper, all of those games are against kind of big teams. You know, it's not Bournemouth or you know, with all due respect, or some other team like that, right? If we manage to go through that patch of fixtures with good results, like I don't know, go through go through in the Champions League and beat all of the 3 teams, or get 7 points from those 3 fixtures in the Premier League, right? I think it's absolutely massive. And also, I would like to raise a point, like the further we are in the season, the less games we will play technically, right? Because like, you know, the Champions League fixtures are kind of like starting to get spread out. Like always, January and normally December is the most congested like part of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would like to remind people that as soon as we started playing like mostly 1 game a week last season, we were slapping teams aside like 4-0, 3-0, you know, because we talked about the Antonio Conte thing of having 1 week to prepare for the opposition, right? So I am excited for the rest of the season. Actually, after that performance against City, I am excited because, as I said,
what did you make of actually? Let's go into a bit of the tactics of that game, actually, Michael. Because what I noticed about that game tactically, which was also interesting, was we did not sit nearly as deep as we do before against Man City. Like, and don't get me wrong, like we beat Man City 1,000 times, like sitting really deep, really compact, really organized. Like that's worked for us, and like I'd do it again. Like I have no issue with that. But this time around, it felt like we were deep and sitting compact in certain stages, but like at also in other moments, like we were pressing them all the way back to their goalkeeper. Even the goal that we scored was actually us, like it was us like frustrating them. They were passing it around us, and eventually we just forced them all the way back to the goalkeeper, and they made a mistake from there. And that's what was also impressive, was the fact that we didn't just sit in the same shape and kind of just like, you know, once they went back, you know, across their side, you know, we just stood there, like we followed them and we kept pressing. And we also made, you know, I felt like Rodri didn't have nearly as good of a game as he did last time. It felt like they really tried to take Rodri out of the game. I don't know, like it was impressive to see that like performance. It was actually beautiful. I thought actually some of the defensive shape we saw in the organization, and also the way they worked for each other. It was spectacular for me.
Yeah, I think that it was pretty much like the perfect example of 3-4-3 working out, right? Because if you look at 3-4-3, it's actually not really a 3-4-3. It's more of a 5-4-1, in a sense where, especially when you defend, you can, if we hold our shape and if we are compact and, you know, organized, you can, like, seriously, you could do a picture of a game and draw 3 lines and see the 5, 4, and 1. And during this game against City, we were doing it perfectly, in my opinion. If you look like at the like, if you do a photo of like 3 seconds before Højbjerg took the ball of the City kid,
Rico Lewis or whatever.
Rico Lewis. You can clearly see Thor and Kane in front of them. It was perfect, in my opinion. But also, I think what worked well in for us was that I think we struggle our defensively when we get countered on. That's one thing. The other thing is when the opposition spreads out our defense. So when they have wingers that work in the wide areas, right? So, for example, against Arsenal, Martinelli and Saka really like to play wide and cut in, like, you know, near the goal line, right? And with crosses in, or, you know, dribble past players. Yeah. I think with Grealish and Mahrez there, I think they are the kind of players that like to cut inside, not from they like to cut inside. And I think like their issue was that you already have Haaland in the box, and all Haaland wants is a cross or a, you know, through ball to get on.
I feel like though they ignore some of Haaland's runs. Like as much as I feel like Dyer and Davies and Romero, they did a great job with marshalling Haaland and I think they did actually a spectacular job with, keeping him out of the game.
Yeah.
But it felt like a lot of times, like Man City, they're so used to just passing sideways that they actually don't pick their head up and like see that Holland, can
Exactly.
make a run in behind. And like, that's what I think part of their issue is that they don't seem to actually use him to a degree.
I was about to get onto that. So like two ways they attack is either with the configuration of players that they had, it's either Grealish or Mahrez like going through to the box, but you already have Haaland there. There is no point in dribbling into the box because we already have 5 defenders in the box, right? There are 3 people marking Haaland, and our wing backs were marking their wingers, right? So like there is no point in going inside, so you have to whip crosses in, and Haaland is the only person that can get on the end of a cross. And if you have 3 center backs marking him out of the game, then there is no way that they are going to do that. And as you said, so many times I've seen Haaland literally I think he's so good at that. He's so good at like dropping slightly deeper and then making a bolting run. He starts making the run and he expects the ball to come to him. And as you said, like City players, they just drop their heads down and pass it around the back, pass it around the midfield, and 800 passes, 1,000 passes, and Haaland is just standing there waiting. Like I actually feel bad for the guy because there are some conversations of like, is Haaland making City worse? No, it's the players that do not adapt to the new style.
I think it's just they just don't know how to use Haaland. Like that's all it is.
Exactly.
Like they don't know. They don't understand how to use a number 9 like that. And that's also because a guy like Guardiola just doesn't use these type of players. And I think he has wired his sort of players to not know how to use these like traditional number 9s. Like I'm with you. I agree. And another thing though, just with the Man City game, did you feel like another part of it was that I feel like Bentancur and Højbjerg like pressed a lot higher up at certain stages than they normally do. It feels like last time against Man City, that pass would get kind of slipped into Rodri, and then Rodri just like had all the time just to turn and face the whole field and be able to pick out a pass. Where it felt like this time, like Bentancur and Højbjerg were really like pains in the ass, for that Man City team. Like they were just so much more energetic, and they also, I think, took more risks by the looks of it. Højbjerg and Bentancur felt like Højbjerg was making more runs forward, like making more runs in behind to like lead counterattacks. I don't know, like if you know what I mean. Like felt like the center mids, of course. They were being a bit more expressive at the center mids in this game.
I also think that in terms of like the previous game that we lost at Etihad, right? I feel like if we didn't like shit ourselves, we gave the game away, in my opinion. It's not like I know that City up the levels, they up the energy or whatever, right? But I think that if we actually were compact and focused and didn't, as I said, shit ourselves, I think we could have won that game. And that's so strange for us as Spurs fans to be so confident.
You feel like we blew a lot of counterattacks? I thought we could have won 2-0, 3-0. We also wasted a lot of counterattacks.
Easily. This game, I think we could have won more. And honestly, like the scoreline flatters City. Yeah, because they didn't create anything. They had no big chances in that game. They
felt like they ran out of ideas actually quite earlier.
Exactly.
It felt like they ran how to, they didn't know like how to break us down after a certain stage. Like they just
exactly. And the issue is that we did the same thing to them at their ground. We literally did the same thing to them at their ground. It's just that we weren't focused and we didn't keep ourselves compact in the second half. And I think that like if we played like we played this Sunday against them at their ground, I think we would have won that game 2-0. Like they wouldn't be able to score against us. And that's honestly sad to say, but it is what it is.
I think part of that though had to do with taking Rodri out of the game, because if I recall, like in that Man City game last time out that we lost to them, I remember Rodri like just ran the show. Like I felt like he was just playing these like 30-yard passes that were just breaking us, and making it really hard for our shape to, be able to frustrate them. I just remember Rodri just having a terrific game. Whereas in this one, I felt like he had a lot of the ball, but it felt like he was always under pressure. He was always kind of looking around like because someone was going to tackle him. It looked like he was a lot more rattled. And wasn't able to have, you know, the influence that he normally has, I think, in games. Because normally when you watch Man City, you see like Rodri with the ball for like 98% of the time, like it feels like. But like this game, it was like it felt like he really couldn't do much with it. Like he had to just give it up the moment that he had it. It was spectacular, honestly.
Yeah, like it's. I think not without a reason we are considered City's boogie team. Like I know some people treat this like whole bogey thing as you know, as just a gimmick. I actually think there is merit to it, because like look at it from like human perspective. If you try doing something and you fail every single time, right? It gets to your head. Whenever you try it again, you remember all the previous times that you failed, right? And it is like it with us against Chelsea. Chelsea is our boogie team. We have no idea how to play against them, right? And it's like City with us, right? They don't have an idea how to play against us, and it gets.
But they also play like scared. They play like within themselves. Like they play even like a bit intimidated, like against us, like Man City. They don't even look like the normal Man City whenever they come up.
They are an absolutely brilliant team, right? They are way better than us. Let me get that straight, right? But against us at our ground, it's in their heads. We are living rent free, and I am positive of it. Like, because like imagine you are walking out there, and in your head you are like, I played here 4 times and we didn't score a single goal. This stadium is cursed, and you are like over and over and over.
Especially after last night, Michael. You know. After last night, Michael, it felt like they could have played for 90 more minutes, and it looked like Man City probably weren't going to score. It really did, honestly.
I agree. I agree.
Brandon Troller saying City deserve relegation ? Or just points reduction. Have you looked into this whole situation with them today?
Not much. I know that they are being like accused of some financial stuff, and I know that it's apparently a really big case, because I've been listening to some podcast.
That was
and not necessarily focus on the thing itself, but you know, they mentioned it, and they said something that they are like bringing up stuff from 10 years ago, and that it's been brewing for like 4 years under the carpet.
Oh, so it's not out of the blue. It's kind of like something that's been taken.
Apparently the whole investigation has taken a lot of time. And also I saw something about, and I don't know like how it works from the law perspective, but last time when they were accused of like some financial stuff by UEFA, I think, they got free. They got away with it because they didn't prove it in time or something like this. There was something stupid. But this time, on that podcast, they said that because the investigation is led by the Premier League, there is no getting away with it. They will get charged, and if they are proven guilty,
I thought there was no appeal or anything about it.
I mean, of course, like the whole thing will probably take a year or 2 years or whatever to like, you know, to conclude, like all things in the law system work, right? But I heard like from different sources that there is no getting away with it. They will have to face the consequences if
they'll face some kind of punishment of some kind. If you had to pick then for Brandon here, would you rather see them relegated? Would you rather see some points taken away?
Why not both?
So points taken away from now, relegated for
relegation next season, right? No, but like, you know, let's be honest. Relegation really won't matter much to them. They will be right back up.
I guess it's kind of the same thing. Is that if they get relegated this season, like that still bumps us into 4th, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Like I listen. As much as I critique Daniel Levy in those cases, I feel like one thing that you have to give him credit for is that whenever things like this come out, I am never worried about us. I am never worried about like Tottenham getting into such cases, right?
I mean, I think we could basically spend like 600 million before we even.
Because actually, like in the same podcast that I said I watched. They mentioned that it's not only like they accused City of this stuff, but actually like it's not like other clubs aren't being looked at. So maybe something will come out with Chelsea or United or whatever, right? But in our case, I kind of feel like safe in that case. I know that we won't get like slapped with a points reduction because of the way we've done business. I
If
know
anything, I
it's
think it's
frustrating.
for the Paratici investigation
Yeah,
that somehow could be linked to this.
Paratici. Yeah, but they won't deduct points from us for what Paratici did in Italy, right? So
They
yeah,
might just find Kulusevski or something. I don't know what they'll do. Who knows? But probably, yeah, exactly. We're actually usually quite well behaved, Tottenham Hotspur when it comes to the finances. Something to be happy about, that's for sure. Just kind of two other questions I have for you, Michael, and then I do have to let you go and get on to Brad.
of course.
But Emerson, I mean, talk about him last night. I mean, what do you feel like with Emerson? Like, do you see the logic why he stuck around? And also, I mean, who would you play in the Leicester City game and who would you play in the AC Milan game? Because it's now an interesting, decision.
I think I think that I really support the decision of letting Doherty go and sticking with Emerson. Listen, we established plenty of times that both of them are most likely not good enough for us, right? But what Emerson has ahead of Doherty is that Doherty is kind of like jack of all trades, master of none. Like he's kind of good in attack and he's kind of good in defense, but he doesn't excel at any of those, right? He's not really a good attacking wing back. He's not really a good defensive wing back. He gets skinned. He doesn't really do crosses well and whatever, right? I think the difference with Porro and Royal is that Porro is the definition of an attacking wing back, right? He's basically a winger when he's up there, right? And Royal, like he loses half his brain whenever he crosses the halfway point, right? But in the defensive part, he's actually kind of reliable, in my opinion. Like we've always been saying this, right? Whenever we were critiquing Royal, I think we all said that he's absolutely shocking when he goes forward. But defensively, there is a few occasions when maybe he did a fuck up. But let's be honest, every single center back does this thing from time to time, right? If they didn't, there would be no goals scored, right? So like every single defensor makes a mistake, right? So I think the reason why they let Doherty go and stay with Emerson is that we can massively change like the shape and profile of our team with that change, right? We can start defensively, for example, against like AC Milan, right? And if the game is going well for us and we see that we can actually go on an offensive, Royal out in the 60th minute, fresh Porro in, and do a madness Porro. Just go at them, go ham, do your thing.
Yeah.
Also, it works in reverse, right?
What would you say then? Because AC Milan then, right, is a huge game, and it's like, do you want to start out more attacking against AC Milan? Do you want to start out a bit more defensively solid? Like, how would you think about that game?
I think just because
I might go Emerson because he's on Leao's side as well. He's on Rafael Leao's side.
Yeah,
so
but I think that, and it's just because of the context of how bad AC Milan are still, right? How bad they are recently. I think we actually can attempt to go at them. I think that, listen, they are wobbly right now. On one of the other shows, one of the guests, the hosts actually, Iggy, he's Italian and he supports AC Milan, right? And he, like, whenever he speaks about AC Milan, he always says that they are really wobbly right now. Their defense is shocking, right? I think that if we, for example, go at them and we score first or whatever, it's like a slap to the face. When you are not confident and you get slapped immediately, like it can be massive, right? So I think I like, if we were talking about AC Milan from previous season, definitely Royal, definitely defensive, just get through San Siro without losing too hard, right? But if we are talking about this AC Milan right now, I actually think we can go at them, and I would probably
I don't disagree. I mean, they've looked shocking recently, so I don't disagree with that. I mean, they have looked wobbly, they have looked inconsistent, and they looked like you can get at them, and that's exactly right. Is that where they maybe are a bit better is going forward, but this season they have been very, very poor defensively. So you are right. That actually makes a bit of sense, to be honest, Michael. Any kind of final points or anything? Any kind of final things that you maybe wanted to talk about before I let you go?
Yeah, like generally, Jack, I mentioned it at the beginning. I am actually kind of excited about this season right now, and I know it's flip floppy, like going from downbeat
I think
to
it's part
actually
of how it is,
excited right now.
Michael. You're
Yeah,
on
but
YouTube and you're on Twitter and you see how it is. Like it's just reactionary, and there's so much, that seems to happen every week, and it's just how it is. I think there's no problem with being, you know, I don't even think it's flip floppy. I think it's in fact like it's just been a hectic roller coaster season, and it's understandable to be down one week and then to be on a high the next
yeah,
week.
yeah,
It's just how it is. It's just how it is
yeah.
sometimes.
Like when I watched that Manchester City performance, right? I was so excited because I finally, after like a long time, saw a proper Conte team. But like there is still doubt in me because like if they can perform like that, why didn't they perform like that against Arsenal? Why I didn't see the same fight, the same desire against your biggest rivals, right? Why it had to be City and not Arsenal? If you gave me an exchange and told me we win against Arsenal and lose against City at home, I would take it like immediately, right? So I think it's not like this team is perfect right now, or now we'll go and slap everyone up and win all games until the end of the season. But I think with how bad this season is, I don't see a reason why we cannot catch up Newcastle at least. With United, we will see because they are playing really really well
Yeah, I think
recently.
Newcastle could slip up a little bit. They might
Yeah,
drop some points.
but uh, I know top four is not a trophy, right? But I think it's an important building block. When you want to do something, it's an important building block to achieve that Champions League, right? And and with the way FA Cup went this season, I also see no reason why we shouldn't be reaching semi-final or a final,
I'm
in
with
my
you. I
opinion.
think a semifinal is a must. I think semifinals.
I fear meeting United along the way because they have our number. We pretty much always lose against United in cup competition, so I fear meeting them. But with who else is left? City and Brighton from Premier League. Like Brighton is an iffy fixture,
Two
but
good
we
teams, but two teams that we've had success against
yeah, but
historically as well.
two teams we've beaten this season, right? So I don't see a reason why we cannot beat City and Brighton. I'm not saying we will, but I think we can. And listen, in the Champions League, I want to enjoy the ride as much as I can, and I think AC Milan is beatable. And all it takes is just getting, I don't know, let's say Benfica or Borussia in the next round, right? If they manage to go through, and maybe we can go through Borussia, and suddenly you find yourself in a semi-final of Champions League, right? And
Yeah.
maybe we can do a madness this season. I'm not saying we will again, but I think there is actually something to be excited for this season. So yeah, I like this performance gave me a lot of confidence, and I hope the boys will
I hope they
perform like
do.
that. Yeah, and listen, first time in a long time that we have a full squad without injuries. Touch wood. So let's enjoy the ride.
Antonio
Right?
is happy with that. I can tell you that. Michael, really good chat with you, my friend. Appreciate you coming on, and look forward to many more.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Looking
See you
forward.
later.
Bye.
See you later. Come on, you Spurs. Bye,
Go on, you
Michael.
Spurs.
Catch ya. Alrighty, everybody. Big up Michael in the chat. That was a good chat I had with him. And it felt like it'd been a long time since he'd been on here. So I kind of had to, catch up with him as best I could. And also as well, just, sort of get to all that sort of good details about the game. But we're moving on to, I think, what might be our final guest of the evening, everybody. And it's actually somebody who normally gets us kicked off, but is going to be the closer this time around by the looks of things. Mr. Brad Matthews.
Top of the bill, eh? Top of the bill.
normally you're the opener. Tonight you're the closer.
Yeah.
How
Well,
are we feeling, Brad?
I got the offer to go on Chris's show, so I thought I'd do that. Do the two.
Nice.
It's not like a London bus. I don't do a show and then suddenly do 3 or 4 at the same time. So, but
back to back.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday. I mean, what a day! I mean, I've been reveling in it all today.
Were you
really.
at the pub? Did you go to the game? I mean,
oh yeah, I was at the game at the pub. I even went to those of you know Tottenham. I normally have a drink in the Goal Line bar at Tottenham. I actually went to with a mate of mine to the Olive Branch, which is one of the local pubs there.
Nice.
And it was that was sort of rocking.
Was the atmosphere like really pumped and kind of how was the atmosphere before the game while you were walking in? What was it like?
It was a really good atmosphere yesterday. I think I think everyone seemed to have a good feeling about the game yesterday.
Even in the pub, you could tell there's a bit of a good
it was.
feeling.
It was. I've just had that sort of decent feeling, and I think it's the best performance of the season, without a shadow of a doubt. They played well for the whole game, and I just felt so good and almost relieved in a way that I was actually at the game that Harry Kane broke the record.
Yeah, that's terrific.
That was just a
I don't
wonderful,
know if it's
wonderful
fully
moment.
sunk in with me yet, Brad, because I kind of was thinking with the 2 extra goals that they gave or whatever to Jimmy Greaves, I was kind of like, oh, maybe they'll just push it down the road or anything.
Well,
And then they just decided to give it to him. They gave the graphics and everything. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was just one of those. I mean, I even, because it's happening, I'm sort of pointing that way, so everyone obviously knows what I'm pointing, but it's that end of the ground. So I'm at this end of the ground. So it was, and as the ball went forward, as Højbjerg went in to intercept the ball, we all sort of stood up. And I just luckily was able to see the goal because of people getting up in front of me, sort of thing. And it was just a wonderful moment. And the good thing about it was it happened early in the game.
Yeah.
So it's out of the way, and they had the celebration. The big thing came on the board and that sort of thing. And you know, it was really, really good to see that. And I read today someone tweeted that they actually saw Jimmy Greaves score his last goal for Spurs, and saw Harry Kane break the record today.
Wow.
So although I can
That's
claim
amazing.
to have seen Jimmy Greaves, in fact, Jimmy Greaves scored in the very first Tottenham game I went to. Not that I remember a lot about it, but I honestly I didn't see him scoring his last game because the guy actually. It was January the 3rd, 1970, and there's a 2-1 win at home to Derby, and he scored with a header, which is quite rare for him. And then he played in the following game, and then they sold him. So you know, so yeah, so for I don't know how many people would have been at the game yesterday that could say that they saw both of those goals, you know, but. You know, I certainly could see, you know, one of the goals, and yeah, so see that, especially when I hate the fact that he might have broken it at another ground and I wouldn't have been there to see it. So the fact that he broke it there was actually actually brilliant, really brilliant. And yeah, the team performance was very, very good.
Best performance of the season for you, Brad?
Without a doubt. I mean, it was like the whole game really, and it was one of those games where City never looked really that dangerous.
I felt like we were the better team for the whole 90 minutes, which is insane to say.
It is a deserved win. The only thing that's in the back of my mind was the fact that we've given away so many goals of errors. And you can think, well, how many, you know, how well we played. There's always that one error that could happen.
And we didn't take advantage of those counterattacks, I thought, too. So it was just kind of like, if you're not getting that second goal and you kept wasting those chances, I was like, I'm with you. It was like, oh, this is going to bite us in the ass. This is going to bite us. Yeah,
we got the Lloris we got a free kick in injury time.
Lloris tried to make it.
Great. I'm just put it in that corner, and that's game over. I'm sort of how did he get? He puts it in the center of the pitch. Right to one of their players.
And he only kicked it like 30 yards. He kicked it like as far as I would have. Like as well. I even said on Twitter, I said it would have been more useful had he just kicked it out of play. That would have been more useful, like instead of keeping it in play.
We were cheering goal kicks and free kicks. Yes, goal kick. Yes, free kick. And it was great. And at the end of the game, I don't know if you saw it on the TV, but at the end of the game, they actually said, "Oh, look, everyone stay in the stadium." And the players stayed on the pitch, and they interviewed. I think he did the Sky interview, but then they interviewed him with Boyd Court, the guy who does the interviews at Tottenham. And watching that, and the crowd's reaction, I'm thinking, Harry, you're not going anywhere, mate. You know, you're here for life. You know.
Wow.
And I just got that feeling because he seemed so pleased with breaking the record, and also the fact that the fans and that sort of thing. And they had Danny Greaves, which is Jimmy's son, on the big screen, giving him congratulations and that sort of thing. And it was just a really feel-good moment. And the fact that they won the game as well, you know, made it all the better. It could have only been topped if we'd have got a penalty in injury time and Kane had got the penalty.
That would have been terrific. I like your head. I like where you're at. I don't know like how I want you to respond to this, but like there's something that's kind of, you know, I've been thinking about this, Brad, where it's like Harry Kane, it's like, for me, I didn't get to see Gaza. I didn't get to see Hoddle. And it's kind of like, for me, it feels like it's somebody that I know will go down as one of the best players to ever wear the shirt. And it feels kind of like a privilege to be able to see, and to be able to say yourself, like,
Yeah.
I got to see him play. I know exactly what he was like. And it feels like people are that way when it comes to Ozzy Ardiles, or when it comes to, Glenn Hoddle, when it comes to even Ginola. People will say, I got to see him play, right? I got to see him play for Spurs. And it feels that way with Harry Kane for me. I'm only so young, so I'll maybe have more players in the future that are like this. But I think you know what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Well, what I'd say to you, Jack, or anyone that doesn't know, or obviously everyone's heard of Jimmy Greaves. If you're a Tottenham, you've heard of him and you know his records and that. But if you haven't ever seen him play, try and find an old video. There's lots of stuff on YouTube. There's documentaries, and you'll see how great a player Jimmy Greaves was. That makes the fact that Kane has just broken his goal scoring record even better.
Wow.
It is. I mean, Jimmy Greaves in top flight football. Now, they class top flight football before the Premier League, so Division 1. Kane's got 200 in the Premier League. Jimmy Greaves in Division 1, not only for Tottenham but for other clubs. We played for Chelsea and West Ham for a short while. He scored 357 goals. So Kane is 157 behind him at top flight football. But what I will say to that is, I'm not aware that Greasy was known for his assists. He was an out-and-out goal scorer. But Kane, with his assists and his goals, will be up near that full flight record with Greaves.
Do you think Harry Kane's going to leave basically the Spurs record unbreakable? It feels like it's going to be forever the unbreakable record, maybe. Because he's going to leave it probably at 3+ something, I would imagine.
I mean, when you think that he was... I mean, Sonny at the moment is up there in 6, isn't he? In the Tottenham goal scorer. So if Sonny was younger, you could see him maybe, say Kane's 29. If Sonny was say 23 or whatever, maybe he might be up there. Yeah. But Kane, I think, was 18, 19 when he scored his first goal against Shamrock Rovers. So he's been at the club a long time So I think you could be right. It's very certainly in my life.
Feels like you would say Dane Scarlett would need to eventually in the next year or two, he would not need to start playing and start banging in some, and then he would need to do it for 10 years.
Exactly. And Kane was scoring goals for fun for what used to be the reserves in those days, or the under 20, whatever it was, and then he got loaned out to many teams, as we all know. So for Dane Scarlett, he's going through the loaning out period now. He's done his scoring loads of goals. So you'd expect Dane Scarlett maybe in the next couple of years to be like Harry Kane, to maybe be that young.
That's how ridiculous it is. It feels like it would need to be somebody. This is what makes Harry so special, Brad, is that it would need to be someone that would also probably be one of your own, or somebody that has a real connection to the club, because they would need to be here for nearly 10 years, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
To break that record. So that's what makes it special. You can't even Holland would never be able to do it, because you would only be here for a few years, you would imagine, if you ever came.
Exactly. And I think if you look at it another way, is that you could say, okay, so in that respect, it could be broken in the next 10, say 15 years. So I could say, actually, in my lifetime, I might see it. But you have to look at, between Jimmy Greaves and Harry Kane, there's been a lot of super top strikers, and it's taken that long. Literally, you do the maths, 53 years for that record to be broken. So I hope I've done maths right there. 53 years. So you have to be incredibly lucky to have the next striker at Spurs to break a record. So I don't think it's a thing that I'll see in my lifetime, and many people watching lifetime either, if you look at it on that basis. But
another thing about Harry too, Brad, is that's come to my mind, and I'd be curious what you are thinking too, is I feel like when I look at all the best strikers in the world, some of the best players in the world, they all kind of are a bit full of themselves. They their reflection in the mirror. You look at Neymar, Mbappe, Ronaldo, even Messi, they all have they're a bit, boisterous, and they have a bit of, they love it. They love themselves, really. With Harry Kane, you just don't really get that sort of vibe that he's obsessed with himself, or he's, going to be in the next, Christian Dior ad, or something like that. I think you know what I'm saying, right?
Well,
he doesn't carry himself in that sort of way like they do.
What he's in ads on TV for mental health awareness, that sort of thing. That's the difference. He's not in it's not in the latest aftershave advert. He's in that sort of advert. So. Yeah, no, you're totally right. You're totally right. He's the ultimate professional, decent guy from all accounts. You know, as you probably know,
He's just so humble whenever he even
Yeah,
is interviewed
yeah,
on this sort of
yeah.
stuff. Like it's some people even say boringly humble, but that's just a good trait to have. I think
Okay,
when you're that good, like when you're that good, like
yeah,
there really
exactly.
is. Like there's two ways. I think that, I mean, to be honest, like I don't even blame the Benzemas or the Ronaldos of the world for being obsessed with themselves. Like they're
Yeah,
the best
yeah.
players in the world. Like how could you not be a little bit, proud of yourself and obsessed with yourself? That's what I think is so insane about Harry Kane is that he's basically one of the best players of all time to wear the shirt for us. He's one of the best strikers in the world right
Yeah.
now, one of the best strikers of all time in the Premier League. And it's like just no real bad incidents or like, any controversies of any kind that you
No,
would point out
nothing
with
at all.
Harry
No, I
Kane.
can't even.
There's
Nothing at
no
all.
like moment where you like
No.
really, yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say. There's no Ronaldo moment. There's no Neymar moment. There's no like Mbappe, like, drama associated with him. And
He,
that's what's impressive
he,
too.
he did do the name. He did do the baby thing, didn't he? To whether the baby new baby's going to score a goal with a pretty hammy sort of kicking the ball to a balloon that when
I remember that.
Yeah, so that's probably the closest he's got to do anything. But I was thinking today also, obviously Kane and Greaves on score and alone are the two best strikers Spurs have ever had. You could probably make an argument they're probably the two best strikers that England have ever had. Because Harry Kane is only one goal away from being the top England goal scorer. So
That's fun.
it's. I think we do, and you think of Harry Kane scoring goals from all angles, both feet, his assists, his passing ability is out of this world. I've even seen him defend corners. So he's all.
He's
all
the greatest
round.
striker of my lifetime. He is the greatest striker of my
And I
lifetime.
think, as I say, I'm privileged enough to have seen Greaves play, but yeah, he's definitely in the top two at Tottenham for us. And it was an absolute privilege. I was so pleased that I was there yesterday to see that. It was, and thanks to putting him on the bench against Preston, that sort of thing, But yeah,
Exactly
it was.
right. Can I ask you? I mean, it's a two-part question. I'm not sure if I know you were on a show earlier, so I'll kind of phrase this two ways because I feel like everybody's favorite Harry Kane goal is the Derby goal against the likes of Arsenal with the ripping off of the goggles and the mask and the curler. I don't know what your favorite Harry Kane goal is, but if it is that one, what's your second favorite? Like what maybe is like a random, Harry Kane goal? Because some people have like a good random goal that maybe it wasn't against the best opposition or anything like that, but like, maybe give me two Harry Kane goals.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you why the goal against Arsenal where he rips off the mask isn't my favourite Harry Kane goal because we didn't win the game.
Fair point.
And every time I see that, because that puts 2-1 up, that actually puts top of the league for about 12 minutes.
Yeah, fair point.
And that's why whenever I see that goal, I don't get. It's a great goal. Don't get me wrong, but I don't get that excitement because I thought, well, ultimately we didn't win the game. That's why yesterday was so special because we won the game. Favorite Kane goal? Oh my word.
Give yourself like two or three or something, because the way I said, Brad, was like I am a big fan of that Derby goal against Arsenal, but I feel like it's a bit of a cliche one. And so then I kind of went for like what's one where it's like you were just taken aback by like his ability or whatever it was, or someone even said earlier, I think it was Daniel said the goal against I forgot who it was, but maybe it was Brighton or whoever, where he's tripping and falling and, like stabs it, into the ground and scores. Like that was his, one of his favorites. Yeah.
Good goals for me are goals that mean something like winning a game or putting a game beyond doubt. They're always my favourite goals. Like I'll give you an instance when Son scored against West Ham. We're 2-1 up. Yeah, we're bossing the game, but it's only a goal. And he got a goal 2 minutes from the end, and it sews the game up. In that respect, I remember the game against Dortmund when we won the first leg convincingly, but we were under the cosh in the second leg. And then we got a breakaway goal, and he put the goal in, and that was it. We were through to the next round. There was probably about half an hour to go, but Dortmund would have to have scored 5 to have beaten us. And it was just that moment where you just leap up in the air. I was at the pub, leapt up in the air, and you think, yeah, we're through now. So that's the sort of goal I like.
This one for me, Brad.
That one. Yeah, that was one with no fans in the stadium.
Yeah, that one is mine. Because the thing with that for me, Brad, was I have never seen any other player score a goal like that. Like genuinely, I've not seen a player. He's right-footed and he's on the right side of the box, on the outside of the box. he hits it first time, and it's not even like it was whipped into him with any fizz or anything. It was like a trickling slow ball that like is rolling into him. He hits it first time, and it goes not even to the middle of the goal. It goes in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
absurd
Oh, that was
goal.
a great goal. Yeah. Sabbath Wolf 28. That's got to be up there.
That's my
It was
favorite.
one of those
That's
goals
my
where
favorite.
watching on telly is like, whoa, sort of thing. You know, look at that. I'll tell you another goal, another favourite goal of mine at Wembley. I think it was it PSV? When we got to the final of the Champions League, we had to literally win all our games.
Yeah.
And we played against PSV, and I think we got the win. He got the winner with about 2 minutes to go, where he got the ball and did the normal Harry Kane turn and put it in. It might have taken a deflection, actually, but that's the sort of goal where, yes, last-minute goal. And now against Arsenal, 3 minutes to go. The headed goal that gave us the win at White Hart Lane. That was an amazing moment, which he did again at Wembley a few years later. But, yeah, those are the sort of goals that you remember.
His Jose Mourinho season where he got the Golden Boot and I think, also got the Playmaker Award. That was like a terrific season. I think of like a highlight reel from him. I honestly it's hard.
One.
Also, I think they just released like 1 through 247 of his goals. So I'm going to take a look at that later, Brad, and I'll have a better answer.
Yeah, that's a thing I watched about. And as an England fan, the goal that in the semi-final of the European Championships when he missed the penalty but got the rebound, that was one of those moments. Not a spectacular goal, but one of those moments.
That's what I'm looking for. Is like the context of some of the goals that he scored to be reminded of. As well.
And he got the second goal against Germany as well in the previous round. And then he scored the two. Looking at international, the two he got against. I've been Ukraine. Did we play Ukraine? When we beat him 4-0, and he got one in the first few minutes, and he got a second later. But so there's those loads of those goals. But the goal against Burnley, you've asked for two. I'm going for loads now. The goal against Burnley, where after about 3 or 4 minutes, he cracked it in. He thought, "Wow, what a goal! That's goal of the match." And then 10 minutes later, Son ran the length of the pitch to make it 2-0 with that wonder goal. So, but it's. And I'm looking forward to seeing him maybe score a winning goal in the final. That in the FA Cup final, that'd be something. That'd be something to behold. Really would.
Chris, I'm very sorry, my man. That sounds absolutely awful. Because I bet you don't even live too far away from work or anything, too, Chris. That sounds absolutely atrocious, my man. Take care of yourself, my man. Especially, at least not something you wanted on the birthday, but at least some things have gone your way on the birthday. Big up, my man.
Well, happy birthday, Chris.
And then Jason Bell saying he's already watched that video. He's going to watch it again.
Well, yeah, because I'd be interested in seeing. I remember watching. They had on Sky. They had the first 100 goals of a load of Premiership players, and they showed one of Kane's. It must be a few years ago, and they showed a goal against Newcastle where he got put through at St James's Park and scored. I think it made it 2-0 or whatever. And I watched that goal live with my dad. So that was the last Spurs game I think I saw with my dad. So those sort of goals are quite poignant when you see those sort of goals.
Wow.
So it's there's loads of favourite Kane goals. But,
I'm looking forward to going through them. Can I ask you about just Emerson Royal's performance? Because you were in the stadium. He's not a well-liked player in the stadium amongst the fan base. And what was it like? What was the crowd's response to some of the tackles he made? I remember you said everybody was celebrating the goal kicks and everything. He contributed to a lot of those.
That's definitely his best game in a Spurs shirt. And the crowd, to be fair, the crowd were with the crowd. I think, in all honesty, there were people that cheered when he got subbed, those months ago. I think the crowd want him to do well. I really do. In that sort of game, you want all your players to do well. And I think a friend of mine was saying, why have they bought Porran? They're not playing, and why are they playing? And well, obviously, you're going to be more defensive against City. They're going to have a lot of the ball. So, you want your... And Emerson's played City before. He's played at Liverpool and had good games where he's had to be defensive. As a defender, I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a decent player as a defender. He's just going forward. He's not that good. No. And yesterday, he played really, really well.
Yeah.
And the thing about him, it's look, I've been a big fan of his, and not his ability wise. Don't get me wrong. People
I
in
like
the
his
chat go,
attitude.
yeah, and he just seems to he loves the club and he puts in, and so I feel really good for him that he had a really good game yesterday. I mean, they all played well, to be fair.
Yeah.
But and I asked Michael obviously why was he picked? Well, yeah, that's why they picked him, because defensively he's a decent player. Now I know that when we play some teams that are going to defend against us, we're going to need a more attacking player. So that Porro is going to provide that width and that sort of thing. So, and as for the Doherty thing, I think I said to you, Jack, in the WhatsApp group, to me, if it's a choice between Emerson or Royal, I'm keeping Emerson or Doherty, I'm keeping Emerson. I think he's a better player than Doherty.
With Pedro Porro coming in as well, like I feel like Doherty sort of lost that reason to stick around. Like it kind of felt like.
Yeah, because now you got an option. You've got an option to play your more defensive right back or right wing back, or you can play your more attacking right wing back. So it's what's this?
Struger Pebble saying, Jack, I wonder if the difference from yesterday's match was because of Stellini. Without Conte there, it's as if the whole team came to life. And Marseille, we also had a terrific win without Conte. What do you make of this, Brad?
It's an interesting one.
Stellini ball.
Yeah. Now, what I mean, yesterday it was basically like Pochettino's team in reverse. So Pochettino used to have Dyer as a defensive midfielder, but then he dropped back into make a back three. And yesterday it was the opposite. He seemed to push up into that midfielder. I was on a show previously, and they're saying maybe that's because they expected De Bruyne to play, and he was going to push up on De Bruyne. But when De Bruyne didn't play, they thought, well, we'll go with it anyway. And that made us, even though we defend against a team like Man City, it was almost like an attacking move. If it makes sense, an attacking defensive display in a strange way. He pushed up. That allowed Højbjerg to push up, which really created the first goal, the Kane goal. So now, was that Stellini's idea or was that Conte's idea? I guess we'll never know. But it is interesting that, that if that was Stellini's idea, there'd be a lot of people out there going, oh, well, there you go. It just shows you.
Also, though, the fact that we got like a full 90-minute performance, and Conte wasn't there. We know probably at halftime or couldn't have said anything. So it was Stellini that was giving the halftime, team talk as well. Like, you have to give a lot of credit to him.
I'll give a lot of credit to him if that was his tactics, but
just mean his mentality in the dressing room. Like he kept them focused. He kept them switched on.
No, I think he's a half decent. I think he's a decent coach. I mean, he's got a free hit really because the game in Marseille was going to be a hard game against Man City. It's going to be a hard game. So he's unbeaten, 100% record. Yeah. So he's got a free hit that he can sort of try chance it. And if it doesn't work, so we lost to a good team. But it worked a treat yesterday. And I felt it meant that we didn't have to drop as deep. I think we defended a lot higher up the pitch yesterday as well, which against Man City, it's quite a brave move. And then they just cut out, basically cut the supply even though they ignored him as well to what's his name?
Haaland, yeah.
Haaland, yeah. Who didn't
felt like they ignore Haaland a lot though too, Brad. Like I feel like a lot of his runs just sort of get ignored.
Oh yeah,
they're so busy passing sideways and and things like that. A big difference I noticed in this game too, Brad, though, is I felt like Rodri didn't have as nearly good.
No, he didn't last time. No. And I have to say, the 2 yellow cards for Romero. there wasn't one Spurs fan in the crowd that had any objection to both of them. It's like, the first one, and they happened away from me. So the first one, yellow card, and the second one, he's off. Sort of thing. It was.
The other thing, though, isn't it amazing? I feel like Romero, he can get like such an early yellow card like that, but then he can be so well behaved for like the next 80 minutes, and then. I don't know what it was. Like I think it's because Højbjerg didn't really take out Grealish, so he kind of just had to. And then Grealish, I think it was a foul, but Grealish also kind of dangles his leg a little bit.
Yeah, he does.
But I'm with you. Like it felt like there was no protest, but it was also just. I mean, that's Romero's first red card, Brad.
Yeah, and it's almost like we've got it out of the way. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later. We knew because he's had a couple of bookings early on in the last few games, and I think unfair bookings, to be honest. So I think the referees are now looking out for him. And I think yesterday, well, that's okay. He's been sent off. 2 yellows. I think it's only 1 game he misses. It's against Leicester, I'm presuming. So it's not, it could be worse. But it's interesting that Haaland's dad was the guy who got sived down by Roy Keane, I think, and finished his career. So it's quite interesting that Romero sived him down in that first.
Do you think he kind of rattled him a little bit? Do you think Haaland, maybe that's part of the reason Haaland was a bit anonymous, was because of that initial challenge? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the old, if anyone that's played football, let him know you're there type thing. And yeah, you can be the most brilliant player in the world, but if you know someone's gunning for you, and there are players that like that, that could well be. But it was. But if you look at the second yellow, Grealish did play for it. But you look at Romero's leg, and he hangs it out, and then he does move it. You see it, and he moves it. Yeah. It's like if he just kept his leg there, then you could have argued. But no, you said
completely. No, that's a good point. That's a good, that's a good balanced, point that you had there. Maybe one of my final questions for you, Brad. LSG is, kind of saying, let's not get ahead of ourselves. City are, something's awry over there. Something kind of stinks over there. There seems to not be a full, kind of squad that's behind Pep at the moment. Maybe something's awry. But do you feel like maybe something's changing? Do you feel like the momentum is changing for Spurs? How do you feel like after this win? Could something be turned around?
Yeah, first of all, to look at that comment, they were on the par, and Pep's tactical decisions are a bit strange, but that's not our problem, is it? That's their problem. We could only beat the team that's in front of us, and we beat them, and I think deservedly beat them. I don't think Lloris had a real save to make. No. Whereas their keeper made a couple of good saves, or that one from Kane was brilliant.
And we wasted plenty of counterattacks, I thought, where we didn't even get a shot off at all, where we should have.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they had 15 attempts and 3 on target or something like that. So there was not a moment there where you think, oh, this is going to be a goal. A couple of shots that went over. But, it wasn't one of those sort of, okay, we got a little bit lucky when they took that corner and it went to the guy just shot and it sort of bounced off of Dyer. So he bounced off Dyer and went over. There's a little bit of luck there. And also the ball that hit the bar. I mean, you look at the game at the Etihad Stadium. If Perisic's shot goes in and makes it 3-2, then maybe you got a different game. You could say the same yesterday if Mahrez goes in. We've had a little bit of luck in our games against City. They've missed 2 penalties, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but hey, look,
this felt like the least of the luckiest ones, though. This is one where it felt very deserved, and like I said before to Michael, I was like, we weren't defending every man behind the ball or anything.
We looked more dangerous than them to score. We looked more likely to score because we were attacking them. And what I did like about yesterday was, although I think he could have made a better final decision, I thought Sonny was running at players. Yeah. And when Sonny's on form, 1, he runs at players at pace, and 2, he does that curling shot into the corner. And yesterday he was running at players with pace.
And I don't think he gave the ball away or anything like that.
Yeah,
he was positive.
I think his final decision, occasionally might have let him down. But
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
If you're looking at the rest of the season, the atmosphere was really good. We got behind the team. If we can get behind this team, I think Michael was saying that we've now got a game every week, possibly. We seem to play better that way. If we can keep the defence, because defence, look, Dyer and Davies had good games yesterday, but we know that our defence is prone to mistakes. So looking at the game in isolation, they had good games, but we know that in future games that might not be the case. Yeah, but I think that if we can don't forget, we haven't had the Sonny Kane partnership this season much, if at all. If Sonny's back on form and that partnership gets going, if Porro's as good as he is as right wing back, that gives us extra width.
Will look like a whole different beast of a team.
Yeah, and we've got the attacking option in Danjuan, Danjuan, and we've also got hopefully if Basuma can get a few more games and he can get his game up to standard, and we got a decent bench. Richarlison's fit again. Yeah, we've got we can do. I think if we can avoid the big teams in the FA Cup at least until the semi-final, we've got a chance there.
I'm with you.
So it's and the other thing I will say is that we never expected to get to the Champions League final in 2019, but somehow we did. So who knows? Who knows?
And also AC Milan, the fact that we're even—it's so exciting to even be playing in the Champions League next week. But also AC Milan, they're a little shaky at the moment too.
They're
So
beatable, yeah. They're definitely beatable. Then obviously you got, again, you got to avoid the bigger teams. But then, if we get to a final, maybe we might win it this time. But yeah, that's looking a long time. We all get excited because we had a good performance and a good win yesterday. But
I love getting ahead of myself.
We got Leicester away, like we had Burnley away last season after beating Man City. So we all know what's going to happen.
Similar circumstances, don't you think, Brad? It feels like a Burnley. It feels like a Burnley.
It's nice. It's nice, and it's nice to win. And we can do well if we get behind the team. We can do well this season. But let's the old cliche: every game, take one game at a time. Enjoy the win when you can, but then tomorrow it's back to training, back to thinking about Leicester. So yeah.
Any other kind of things you want to chat about, Brad, before you give your channel a little bit of a plug?
So Emerson was good.
I thought Højbjerg was terrific as well.
Yeah. And the fact that we, whether it's Stellini's idea, Dyer pushing up, played well.
Davies, I thought was good too. Davies was solid, and I think he's. In fact, I feel really bad. I said this earlier, Brad. I feel bad that we sometimes group Ben Davies with Sanchez and Dyer sometimes when it comes to the mistakes. We talk about the individual errors, and we kind of maybe, at least I sometimes accidentally throw Ben Davies in there, but I feel like it's unfair to do it because he is a bit boring on the ball and everything. He makes kind of the easy choices, but he doesn't make the mistakes that just other players do.
Look, we all know that if we're going to win titles, we do upgrade on Dyer and Davis, and we need better centre backs. We all know that, but at the moment we haven't got those players. So yeah, they're I think Davis is a much maligned player. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. And so I made the point tonight. So it's not my point that Dyer seems to play better when Davis is there. So maybe that's the point, because Dyer knows they've been playing together for, even though Davis,
they know each other,
but they've been playing together for a long time. So maybe that's the thing there. I didn't think so earlier on in the season, but I think Davis is better than Langley at that left-sided player,
defensively wise.
Maybe. But we've got a chance. We're all singing in the bar at the. You'll never score here. You'll never score here. Manchester City. You'll never score here. So hopefully we can avoid them for the rest of the season, so we don't have a chance to get better.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it was a good day yesterday at last.
I'm glad you got to be there, Brad. I'm so jealous. That sounded a terrific day, and especially I'm also when I asked you in the very beginning, where the fact that you could even sense a bit of a special kind of energy or special kind of atmosphere from the very beginning. That's always
I felt a lot more confident. I mean, I predicted a draw, 1-1 ironically, so I got it half right. But yeah, there was definitely a feeling that, and I think with Man City, you always know, even though they're very talented attacking wise, you always know that defensively they're gettable, and I think that filled me with a bit more confidence that we can score against Man City, and they played a sort of game that allows us to play to our strengths, the breakaway and that sort of thing. This is why I think the next game we play against at home against a defensive team is going to be interesting to see how we cope with that sort of thing. And maybe Porro will give us that extra width on the side. So
do you play Porro in the next match? Maybe rest Emerson? I think you do play Porro in the next
match. Leicester City. See, Leicester City will suit us because they'll come at us probably. I don't know.
They're a leaky defense, though, and that's why I would play Porro. Maybe it's just I feel like you can, even if they come after you, it's like they're a worse defense than us. So I feel like you would play attacking players.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, it depends on how he goes at training, and look, I know we all laugh at saying, "Oh, he's not been played because he's not tactically aware," and that's Basuma, but. I mean, it does make a difference. He has to know something about how we play. So whether you can get it in a week and a half, I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see how that goes. But I'm filled with a bit more optimism for the rest of the season, as we all are when we have a decent win. But
it's nice when Spurs don't ruin our weekend. That's the case,
let's
Brad.
get rid of it. I still want to win the FA Cup. I'm still not that fussed about our league position if we win a trophy this season. So
I'm with you.
So I still think my next game that I'll get the nerves will be whoever we play in the FA Cup, which I'd imagine would probably be Sheffield United. So
I like it. It. Well, Brad, give your channel a plug here, and thanks for closing out the show with me.
Blue Sofa Songs. It's if you don't already know, it's me. It's my channel that's got my own songs on. Started off last year with just me playing in front of a camera, video camera, and then it's now developed into musical software where I can do multi-tracks and put drum machines in, all that sort of stuff. So they're all my songs. They're my views on things. They're my experiences. I try and get a new song out every 2 weeks. The difference this week is that last week I concentrated on getting a version of my entry. So I've entered this music competition now. It's officially entered.
Nice.
If anyone's been looking at my songs, there's a song called Even Butterflies, which I think is personally my best song I've written. Because the competition has to be an acoustic song, I've done an acoustic version of that song. So that's gone into the competition. So I'm trying to write a new song this week, but I'm not leaving myself a lot of time. So if I haven't got anything by Thursday, I will upload the entry into or certainly the video of the entry.
Is Even Butterflies maybe one of the ones you'll be performing, do you think? Is that like one that you'll sort of perform at the competition, do you imagine?
Well, no, this is the song I've entered in the competition, because
this is the song you entered into the competition.
You have to you can enter in a video or an MP.
I understand.
Yeah, so I've entered the MP3 version, and when you enter you write about the song, you put the lyrics if you want to. I did a video for it using the MP3 version with a video in case which got the lyrics in. So
nice.
If I haven't written a new song by the end of this week, which is probably likely, I'm going to put that up on YouTube on 5 o'clock this Friday, and it'll be it's not any brilliant video, it's just a load page of, funny enough, butterflies. So the lyrics. So that's just literally just me singing and a guitar, me and an acoustic guitar. That's it. Nice. So there's no sort of whistles and all sorts of effects, just me and acoustic guitar. So it's like Blue Sofa Songs unplugged.
Exactly, unplugged.
But thanks for letting me. It's all down there. Please give it a view. You know, I've got a favourites section. I've got the DAW section. Have a look at it. See what you reckon.
17 away from 150. Please, everybody, let's go show Brad some support.
Please subscribe and just click the likes and all the usual sort of stuff. And hopefully you'll enjoy what you listen to or see. Make a comment. And if you've got any proper criticisms or anything, feel free to, if you think I can do anything better. I mean, don't say, I think you can sing better. I know I can sing better, or Brad, you can play guitar better. I know I can play guitar better. So, but
Even Butterflies, everybody. Even Butterflies.
Yeah, so
please check it out.
Yeah, Even Butterflies. The new, as I said, the acoustic version will be up this Friday if there's not a new song. But I might put 2 on it. If I do have a new song, I'll put 2 on anyway. So it will definitely be there this Friday. So, unfortunately, I'd love you to say, please vote for me, but it's being judged in April and May. There's already thousands of entries apparently, so from all around the world. So the chance of me winning are pretty slim, but there are better chance of winning it if I didn't enter. So I'm hoping that they
put yourself out there, Brad, and that's all you need. It's something not everybody can say that they've done. Especially when it comes to your hobbies, what you're interested in.
Yeah,
to put yourself out there is it's something not everybody can say that they've done. So
and if I do win the competition and get the record contract, that's the prize. I've got enough songs for an album. So there you go.
Exactly right.
Thanks, Jack. Cheers, Jack, and
thanks for finishing this off with me, Brad. Thanks for being the closer.
No problems.
All right.
Take care, mate.
I'll take care.
See
you soon. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Brad. See you soon, brother. Have a good one. Everybody, big up Brad. Please hit that link down below. It's over at Blue Sofa Songs. Show him some support. I think he's 17 away from 150 by the looks of it. And also as well, he's just a good man, Brad. He shows this channel. He shows me a lot of support. So show him some support, please. But I think we're going to leave it there, everybody. That might be the last guest of the evening, unless anybody still has that link saved or anything like that. Now's your time to click it and come on in. But I think we're going to leave it there, everybody. Really do appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks everybody who's come on and had their say, from Brad to Mia, KPV, Daniel, all that came on and had their say. Michael as well. Really do appreciate it. Hit that like, please, everybody, on your way out. If you are looking for something to still stay tuned to, I did put out an Emerson video kind of just explaining why Doherty left, why Emerson stayed, some of the logic behind that sort of decision, and also maybe kind of why I've always stuck up for maybe Emerson at times past. So if you do want to check out that video, please feel free to do so. I did just put that out today. when it comes to tomorrow, I'm not exactly sure what could be coming out. Maybe a podcast, maybe a debate show, something maybe of some kind could be coming out tomorrow. But everybody just stay tuned, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. If you are new, hit that notification bell to not miss any sort of videos that we put out there for you. I'm not sure on Dave's return, but I'm sure he'll be back and firing and fit and healthy when he does and when he is ready. But everybody, do stay supportive of this channel. Keep supporting us while you can. But I will be seeing you. Come on, you Spurs. And in Conte, I trust. See you, everybody.
Everywhere we go.